What's up, guys? We are live. We got Anthony Johnson joining us, and as it has been revealed, he's actually my handler. So I've been secretly working for the for 21 Studios.
Double agent.
The jig is up. Yeah, I've been trying to play both sides, but I've been caught red-handed, so it's time to just confess. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. That was obviously a joke for the 1% of people who didn't pick up on that. But yeah, Anthony, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, man. Glad to be here. Appreciate you having me back on the channel, and appreciate
Yeah.
you being a secret agent for me and my company.
Yeah.
Very much predate the skeeving, conniving here.
Well, I'm gonna be open about it for like a few weeks, and I'm planning on going back undercover. I'm gonna do like
Okay.
look at the nose with the glasses and shit, so no one will ever know.
Yep.
Yep. So yeah, we did actually a live stream with Anthony. I want to say what 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
It was a while ago, probably 4 or 5 months ago. I'd say. I'm not sure though. 100%.
Yeah, we went for over 2 hours, so we really heavily covered the whole backstory of how Anthony got started with the 21 convention, his whole situation with Rollo. So we're not going to rehash that too much because it's already there, and we covered it to like extreme detail. We went through like who are all like the frauds in the community. So this has been like thoroughly covered. So you guys have any questions, we'll happily answer it, but we're not going to like rehash it too much. The two reasons we want to do this podcast is one, we want to talk about the 21 convention because I feel like my audience is not really familiar with that, and that's where I'm going to be speaking. And two, just answer all you guys' questions that you guys have. So let's start right with the convention, man. So what's tell the guys about, like, what is it?
Yeah. So I've been doing it for 15 years. It's actually the 15-year anniversary this year. I started organizing it in July 2006, and we held the first one in July 2007. And it was basically one of the first. It was the second ever, to my knowledge, Manosphere PUA convention. Second only to Cliff's List, which happened in 2005 and 2006. I didn't go to those. Those were in Canada, but they were pretty big from what I understand. A couple hundred guys.
Are they still going on?
No, they stopped in 2006. So it was big in 2005 and 2006. I mean, there was no other game in town. And they had big speakers: Neil Strauss, Style, Mystery, Eric von Markovic, John Sin, who went to work at Mystery Method for a while. He spoke for us as well. Tyler Durden, Owen Cook was there back in the day before he was this big douchebag. At least back then it was more, all these guys were a lot younger. I mean, this was like 15, 16, 17 years ago, a long time ago.
No,
but anyway,
we're there. Owen, like, just to quickly comment on that, Owen used to be way cooler. Like, I met him in like in person, like real life, in 2013, and he was like a normal person. Like, he had like some twitches, he was a little off, but he was like a normal, relatable guy who was passionate about pickup. Versus compare that to like 2018, when I ran into him at Whole Foods in Miami. It's like two different people. They're not the same. They don't look the same. They don't act the same. They don't talk the same. So I don't know why he, like, usually when people do a transformation, it's like it's for the better. But he did like a reverse transformation where he just like went downhill, which I really don't know why.
I don't know either. I used to love him, dude. When I was a kid.
Makes no sense at all.
Yeah, dude. He used to run a blogspot. Forget the exact name of it. It was like realsocialdynamics.blogspot.com. It was this cool blog in the 2000s, and I loved it. And I had lunch.
Yeah, he had some good early content. The only reason I can think of is because he's like, you know what? I'm too cool, so a lot of these guys can't relate to me. So if I make myself a giant dweeb, I can get more sales.
Maybe the money went to his head too. I don't know, man. He's been doing it. I mean, he's been an entrepreneur for a little bit longer than me, but I don't know. I don't really have a personal problem with the guy. I do think he's kind of. I know he's a bullshitter today. I've heard that from some of the coaches that work for RSD, guys that I've known through the industry and stuff, and I believe them. Like, I believe they tell me the truth, and some of the exposed videos as other coaches have done, I think were truthful as well. I'm not that up to speed on that element of fraud. I mean, you and John Anthony maybe know more about that, but no, there's
so much fraud to keep in mind.
Yeah, there is. I mean, that doesn't even cover. I remember John Anthony asked me about the frauds in the Manosphere who are not even really part of the Manosphere. They're just marketers. They just market on Google and ads and shit. They don't even have any public engagement, right? They just run these insane ad campaigns. Yeah. They spend $100,000 in radio ads and like all this crazy shit. And all they do is market these products made in like India by like people who don't even speak English. It's insane.
The guys, people think, RSD is like the guys who make the most money in the space, you've never heard of, chances are. It's like Pandora's Box, Girlfriend Activation System. Like, their numbers are crushing whatever you think like RSD or whatever all these other companies do.
Yeah, they're at another level of fraud because they don't even engage with anyone else in the industry, at least in public. In private, they do. They work together with syndicates and affiliate marketing and stuff really heavily. I met a lot of those guys, and I've been to some of their meetings, and some of the creepiest shit I've ever been to in my life. out in Austin, Texas. I went to one, for example, back in like 2012, I think. Yeah, a while ago now.
What's
But yeah,
do you mind actually sharing about that? Because it's pretty interesting. Like, what happened at the meeting?
yeah. So I went to it was a seduction syndicate meeting. So the seduction syndicate, by the way, is it still operates today. I still have access to it. These dummies never removed me. I hate all these fucks. So they run this private email message group, and it's basically this big message board they run through, like, I think a Yahoo news group is very old school kind of thing, and that's how they work together to scam dudes out of money, like we see in the red pill fraud wing of the Manosphere, right? These red pill frauds, they get together and they basically behind the scenes. I have access, for example, to some of their private chats and stuff, their group chats. They work together to scam guys out of money and fuck guys over and lie and bullshit to the public. The same thing has gone on in the pickup artist community since the 2000s. They started working together in private to trade email lists, very manipulative shit, like how to just more aggressively market, how to like manipulate advertising systems, like shit that was like barely legal, probably legal sometimes. Anyway, I went to one of their meetings. So it's important for the guys to know that there are like real networks of dudes. These are small networks, maybe 50 guys, 100 guys. The red pill ones are smaller. They're more like 10 to 20 guys at a time. But these are real networks. These are like almost like mafia networks where they work together to scam guys out of money. It's really sick. Like the shit you actually see in the seduction syndicate, some of these messages, they don't give a fuck about any of this content. It's all about sucking money out of men. They don't make the products. They don't do anything. They don't care about any of the issues. It's not none of it. It's just all fucked. Anyway, I went to the meeting in 20.
I was going to ask, so is it like is it one of those things where it's completely in the open? It's like everyone knows about it, or is it where they still try to pretend to each other like they're doing things? Is it like an inside joke, or is it fully like open?
There's a lot of inside jokes, I'd say, but they know they're scamming guys out of money. It's very explicit. They know that they're frauds. They like being frauds. All they care, they're like sociopaths for money. They don't care about anything other than just stealing money from them. Just like the Donovan Sharps and the Rollos and like all these fucks. The guys we see in the red pill, the seduction syndicate is an older, bigger fraud network.
It's a bigger racket.
Yeah, it's a much bigger racket, and that's why this like John Anthony, I forgot about them because I just don't deal with them. But I know exactly. I remember him asking me about that. I was like, oh yeah, these dudes are dropping $80,000 a month in ads, and they're just pillaging dudes off Google and Facebook and shit.
Jesus Christ.
They're not. Never mind on YouTube. At least on YouTube with these frauds, we see them, right? Like I've made the mashup videos of Donovan Sharp where he talks about beating women, he talks about fat women, and then his wife is fat. Like we contrast these two because it's hysterical. It's like really funny to watch. And it's also, and it exposes what losers these guys are, right? Out of their own mouth. We're not even saying it. It's one thing for me to criticize them. It's another thing to have a guy roast himself. That's the best thing ever. And for some reason,
what I like about your videos, it's like sometimes you don't have any commentary. It's just like you just slice them together like really well, where it's like an entertaining story. Those are like a lot easier to watch because they're like way more entertaining.
Yeah. They're really effective though because it's someone roasting themselves. It's one thing for me to do a roast or you or John Anthony, but when someone roasts themselves, it's just beautiful. It's a work of art, you know.
One thing I want to quickly sorry, go ahead.
I would say, so that meeting in 2012, it wasn't too big. It was about like 20, 30 guys at it or something. And it wasn't all the high level guys. There's a few or the larger marketers there. But some of the lower level ones, they were running lists. They had email lists like 20, 30,000, stuff like that, which is pretty substantial. But I remember meeting one of the guys there. I think he worked for John Sin. I think he was like his main marketer. So John Sin was the public figure in this thing. And then I mentioned him earlier too. And then he had this guy. This is after he left Mystery Method too. After he left working for Love Systems, as it would be known today. And he had this main marketer who did all of his marketing, all the copywriting, all the email marketing, all this bullshit, right? The SEO, the affiliate marketing, the advertising on Google, all this crap. And I remember meeting this dude, and he was like so visibly fucking socially retarded and angry. Like I got like school shooter vibes off him, like immediately. This is like in 2012, right? This is before Elliot Rogers and all that shit. This was like, it was just weird. Like someone who's a fucking like a Columbine high shooter, like that kind of shit. It was really odd. It was weird talking to him. And I'm like, this motherfucker obviously does not get laid. He has no charisma at all. And he just bleeds bitter, angry, really angry energy. And it wasn't for like 5 minutes. He was like this for like 2 days. So I'm like, I could just see this. I talked to him a little bit and just see him like, this motherfucker's so sketch. But this is a guy who writes email marketing to dudes for how to pick up girls and get laid when he clearly can't get laid himself. This was super obvious. I mean, he makes Donovan Sharp look like a fucking pimp. And we know he just fucks all fat women, for example. So I mean, this is at least some of these guys can be bombastic in the red pill community and frauds, and at least they can go on. These are the people who can't even do that, right? They have to be frauds in private because if they're frauds in public, it's so overwhelmingly ridiculous it won't even pass. The mega frauds of the Manosphere are behind the scenes. Even Rollo is the biggest. I'd say Rollo is the biggest public fraud, but the private frauds behind the scenes running these giant Pandora's box and shit, that shit's like mega sketch. That's like they need the fucking FBI on that shit or something. That shit's like way fucked.
Yeah, it's super fucked. I think the average person doesn't really realize how fucked the industry is. Like they think 50% good, 50% bad. I think a lot of guys actually think that mostly it's mostly good, and then there's a few bad apples. And then some guys think maybe it's 50-50. Both of these are wrong. It's the other way. There's a few good apples, and it's mostly fucked. That's really what it is. And it's kind of a shame because
let me comment on this. I generally agree with that. Like I lean pretty heavy in that direction, but I have a new theory that I think you'll find pretty interesting. So I've been trying to divide up in the Manosphere, like how many frauds really are there percentage wise? How many are anti-frauds? So I'm trying to think of new categories that are a little bit more effective. What I think describes the Manosphere pretty well, my new kind of mental model for it. You have the bottom 20%, which are like super frauds. The Donovan Sharps, the Myron Gaines, the fake CEO, the Rollo Tomassis, all these fucking losers, right? These are like hardcore determined scammers. Like they're really married to the idea of just milking dudes out of money through manipulating them, emotional button pushing, just kind of pandering like a politician. But instead of pandering for votes, they're pandering for super chats and Patreon and shit like that.
Right.
So you got the bottom 20% who are like, like leeches, like literal cockroaches, right? In the middle, and then at the top 20%, you have guys who are legit. And then also in that group, guys who are hardcore anti-fraud, like me and John Anthony, and I would say even you're kind of leaning in that category too. But that's still good. Yeah, whatever. It's a good chunk though. The industry, as I'm saying, there's that top 20%, right? And you got the bottom 20. I think you have a lot of guys though in the middle who are not really like frauds or anti-frauds. They just kind of like don't want to deal with it. Like they kind of know, like all these guys who've been on Fresh and Fit, they know that Fresh and Fit are frauds. You think Kevin Samuels doesn't know that Myron Gaines and Walter Weeks are frauds? Of course he knows. You know what? Does anyone think Better Bachelor? He's got 300,000 subs. He's been on the show in person. Does anyone think that Joker, Better Bachelor, believes that stuttering dumbfuck Walter Weeks fucked 1,500 women? And we have him on video saying he fucked 600 women and then 1,500 women like a month later. This is obviously bullshit, and they know it. They just don't say anything. I think the motivations for not saying anything are different. Some of them really don't care. Maybe they're leaning in that direction anyway, and they're kind of frauds too. In other cases, I don't think that's the case. Like I don't think Kevin Samuels is a fraud, in my opinion. I just don't think he wants to deal with it. I don't think he wants to use his fan base and get involved in it. And I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. Obviously, I'm much more heavy-handed with it. But I don't think these guys in the middle are easy to call frauds. They're just kind of like, unless they don't get laid and they're just bullshitting. That's just fucking gay. I think there's a lot of guys who they don't know what to do. They don't want to deal with it, you know?
I would agree with that. I would say there is a lot of guys, because being a fraud is usually not a black or white thing. There's different levels of it. Like you can be a heavy exaggerator, you can bullshit a little bit, you can bullshit significantly, your whole life can be a lie. So there's different levels of it. But I think, there's a lot of guys in the middle. I also think there's a lot of legit guys who just don't want anything to do with the drama. They don't call people out, like Coach Kyle, Austin Summers. Like these are people I've met. Oh, actually, Coach Kyle, no, I've never met him, but I've talked to him significantly. Austin, I've gone out. They're all legit guys who know game. They get pussy, and they know behind the scenes. Like when I talk to them, they're like, "Yeah, dude, like these guys are the biggest bullshitters," but they just don't want to make videos about it. And they don't want to get involved.
Yeah,
I respect their decision to do that. That's respectable. They're fully entitled to do that because that's how they run their channel. The one thing I want to address is I see this comment quite often, which is like, Alex, you probably have some good points, but you shouldn't just be calling people out. You should focus on yourself, stay in your lane, let them do their thing.
Oh, I'd love to talk about this. I hate this.
Oh yeah,
this is great.
Let me comment, and then I'll love to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
So that's a comment I hear a lot, and most of these guys are like, Alex, I probably agree with your points. Like you're right, but I don't like that you're talking about this. Like you should just focus on yourself. So, and then another thing people say is like, oh, Alex, why are you so obsessed with talking about frauds? Like, first of all, This stuff is like less than 2% of my content. Like 98%
Yep.
of my content's on Tinder, text game, all that stuff. So this is a small percentage of my content. It's just the content that people like to criticize. Second of all, I just want to quickly dispel the cloud chasing argument. If you look at my YouTube channel and you sort by most popular videos, none of those are about other content creators. They're all about text game and live demonstrations. So if my goal was cloud, I would just make text game after text game video. I would just repackage what I'm saying. So, I could repackage the same type of shit concept like 20 million times. I would just have my grill over for nonstop demonstration videos, and I would play nice with everybody. That's how I would get the most clout. Not doing this, because every time I make a video criticizing Rollo, I actually lose a certain percentage of subs. Like the hardcore
Yep.
Rollo fans, they actually unsubscribe to my channel. And I've been told that, dude, I'm unsubscribing now. So that's like not just like something
Yeah.
whatever, I made up.
I get the exact same thing when I make combative videos. 100% confirm that.
Yeah,
Yes.
but so the reason why, so the question is, okay, but why do you do it, right? And I think because I almost see there's two reasons. One is because it's genuinely entertaining and fun for me. Like I do like to talk about different things. I don't want you to talk about text game nonstop. It's entertaining for me, but the bigger reason is I feel like I have an obligation. At this point, I'm very much a part of the Manosphere seduction community, right? Yeah, it is what it is. Like this community has accepted me. I have friends in the community. I have fans in the community, right? Like I can't deny that I'm part of this community, and so I'm obligated to move the community forward. And
Yep.
if guys are not being called out and people are falling for it, then the community is not going to move forward. The only way the community can move forward, it will be like let's take the scientific community, right? Let's say, that's why they have peer reviewed, everything has to be peer reviewed. But let's say, there's some scientists saying really dumb shit like, oh, actually the earth revolves around the moon, right? And no scientist said that was bad. Well, he has his theory. I'm going to focus on my theory. And, I'm just going to let him do his thing. But then the scientific community would be in the dark ages because it would never move forward. The only way community can move forward is if we do call out the bad ideas. Now, there's a difference between calling out bad ideas and calling out people, right? This is where me and John Anthony are a little different, right? I'm not even saying one is better than the other, but like we have to be able to, at the very least, call out bad ideas and call out hypocrisy because in the community will never move forward. And
Yes.
It's frustrating. What I find is, I have so many clients who are like, dude, I don't know who to listen to. There's 20 million people saying 20 million different things. Who do I listen to? Like they're frustrated, right? And this can actually set a person back because they get in the community, they have good intentions, they start following bad advice, they actually, their shit goes down, and they get frustrated and they become bitter and they become a black pillar, or they just give up on the community.
Dude, RSD guys are the worst guys I've ever seen in real life. There's a bunch of them in Orlando, or there used to be, and they're the epitome of that. Not even, I don't think they went black pill. They just took shitty advice. This is like in 2017, 2018, 2019, and they stayed shitty for years. Like John Anthony, I think, did a speech to a bunch of these guys a couple years ago in 2016. I missed it. I just moved back to Orlando then. But we talk about the black pillars today, but dude, the RSD guys are the epitome of like spinning their wheels with shitty advice, going nowhere for years. Like they'd be terrible at approaching in 2017, and they'd be still obsessed about RSD. And in 2019, they were still fucking terrible, getting blown out constantly at bar. I would see this in real life. I'm like, bro, you obviously have gotten 0% progress in 2 years of cult following RSD. Maybe the content's the problem, and maybe the people putting it out are the problem.
Yeah, I was in that category myself between 2013 2017. I was heavily following RSD. The difference was that I would try a lot of my own shit. So I was heavily following their content, but I wasn't afraid to try a lot of my own shit. And I also had a lot of friends who were naturals who kind of were able to steer me in the right direction. If I didn't have, the natural friends, I might still be sucking balls. That's not to say that there was no good content from RSD. At that point, like 2013, 2014, there was actually legitimately good videos from RSD. The problem is there was also bad videos, so you have to like kind of be able to discern that. But nowadays, there's no good videos. It's all fucking bad shit. So the quality of their content just declined significantly. Like I would be very embarrassed if like 2 years from now, you guys, Alex was so much better in 2021, 2023, this content's gone downhill. I want my content to go uphill and uphill, not the other way. So
that's what my content's done at 21 Studios, man. You can watch our speeches from 2010 versus 2020 or 2009 or whatever you want or now. And, never mind, there's intellectual content and also the filming quality, though. And the film quality has gone through the roof. I mean, that's just one, I think, very objective metric you can look at. We used to film single camera in 720p, then 1080p. Then we moved to 3 cameras. Then we filmed 3 to 4 cameras in 4K. 4K, we're even going to do HDR probably this year, HDR 10. So like these are just technical things, but for me they're really important, and they're an objective measurement for like the content has gotten progressively more advanced over the years, and that increases the production value and gives you a better light on the speaker and on the content. You know, when it goes on the news or people bitching about it or making response videos, it ups the foundation that the content even exists on as a speaker. Like when you speak there this year,
The
you know, if we
one
filmed it with a
counterpoint,
fucking iPhone, it wouldn't even look as good. You know.
yeah,
Good.
I mean that's a fair point. The one counter argument I would make is there's a lot of examples of YouTubers. Like let's take How to Beast. Like like when he got started, he was actually putting out some decent content. It's not advanced, but it was like good beginner stuff for business,
Mm.
gym, talking to girls. And since now his production quality is like through the roof. Like I think his production quality is insane, but the quality of his content has become like pretty much total dog shit.
No,
So a
that's
lot of
gay.
times
Yeah,
I do
totally.
see these like inverse relationships where the production quality does become really solid, but actually
Yeah.
the content goes downhill. I would say RSD is in that category as well. The production value is really good.
Yeah, that's like putting lipstick on a pig, they call it, or wrapping, trying to put shit in like gift wrap. Like, yeah, this is I don't agree with that. Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I don't want that at
Yeah.
all. And I don't think our content has followed that trajectory at all either. Like, it's actually gotten,
No, I
we've
think your
gotten,
content is good. I watch your
yeah,
content, from time to time.
thanks.
Obviously, because you're my
Yeah,
boss, so I have to at our
yeah,
annual,
exactly.
annual peer
Undercover agent.
review meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
my bonuses.
Undercover in the Manosphere. Go. That's so funny to me. That guy, dude, that guy hates me more than anyone in the world. He hates, I think, me the most. Maybe Pat Stedman, this other dating coach, right there with him, and then probably John Anthony right after that. But he really hates me. Like I know Rollo really well. These guys ask about Rollo. Dude, Rollo. I used to go fishing with Rollo. I met his family. I know where his fucking address, like his house is at and shit. I have his fucking social security number.
Used to
Like,
bang his wife.
no,
That
I
sort
bang his wife. I didn't bang his wife. I'm not going to do anything, by the way, for anyone watching with social security number. But I have to collect these things when you pay someone over $600 in a year for 1099 tax purposes. But anyway, me and Rollo have a long history, man. Of just I have pictures of him standing right here where I'm sitting right now, and we used to have a company together, the Redman Group LLC, a bank account together, like all kinds of shit, dude. So these guys that ask like, why don't you like Rollo? Rollo's the godfather. I'm like, dude, you've never met this guy. You have no understanding of what this guy, the real individual, is behind this fake public persona he creates. You got to realize that most public figures in any industry, in any demographic, politicians, celebrities, movie stars, professional athletes, a lot of these people are fuck ups in real life, man.
Oh, 100%.
Andrew Gillum, obviously the recent in 2018 governor candidate for Democratic Party, he almost won. It was a narrow race.
Yeah, the crack thing or whatever, right?
No, dude, they found him with pictures. They have pictures of him. It was all over the news in 2019, I think, or whatever. And yeah, they found him in Miami in a puddle of his own puke, surrounded by crystal meth, banging a gay hooker. This guy was a gay hooker, dude.
Not
yeah,
a regular hooker, a gay hooker.
Yeah, not even a regular dude.
If you're a gay guy, this is like insane.
And this guy was the mayor of Tallahassee. He was real sharp in public, all suited up. He had a wife. He had 2 kids. Took these family photos. Everybody had big smiles. He was an upstanding father and an upstanding good man and a good mayor of Tallahassee. No, he's a fucking meth addict banging gay hookers behind his wife's back. And his children.
Just to quickly comment on this for like the 1% of people who are going to make this argument, the problem isn't with the fact that he's gay. Like we're not shitting him.
Yeah, I don't really care.
We're shitting on him because he's a hypocrite and a liar.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really. If he wants to put his dick in a dude, I don't really care. Just don't pretend to me that you're. Don't pretend to me that you're heterosexual and you're married and you got kids and blah blah blah. And then you smoke meth. And then you smoke meth and fuck dudes in the ass, and then you get on the news. His kids have to grow up and look at the news, be like, "Wow, there's dad in a puddle of puke."
They're gonna get made fun of like relentlessly in school.
Oh yeah, dude, that's fucked, man. But you're right. It's the fraudulent nature of all of it, right? Hiding the drugs, in that case, hiding the gay hooker or whatever, cheating on his wife. I mean, these are the opposite if I presented himself in public. And these guys don't realize that a huge chunk of the Manosphere is just like that. Rollo in real life, who talks about intersexual dynamics and the state of hypergamy in America, is a complete creepy loser in real life that has no social skills at all. Zero.
He's very socially awkward. You can see on the Fresh and Fit when there's chicks around, like the chicks are just like low-key freaked out by him. Like it's super obvious.
Dude, my sister met him. And for like very briefly, like 10 minutes, right? Just whatever. And she's like, that motherfucker. She's like, that guy's like an alien. She didn't say motherfucker. This is me, but she said that guy's like an alien. I've never heard her describe. It was very candid, right? Very typical female, just kind of like, ew, like creepy, right? And I've never heard her call a guy alien in my life. She was very specific about alien, like a fucking gray alien. That's how weird he is, man. He's that much of a loser in real life. That's why he has to go on the internet and project all these teenagers, guys in their 20s, right? Rollo hasn't had a same at LA in like 30 years. I mean, this guy is so out of tune with the modern sexual marketplace. He doesn't have a fucking clue. He just pulls rabbits out of his ass and bullshits on the internet to broken, hurt guys and he panders to their wounds. It's sick. It's really sick. It's kind of funny, but it's also like really sick. It's like dark humor. It's like this tragic fucking fucked up shit. It's totally fucked.
Like you said, your sister picked up on it right away. Chicks pick up on this stuff right away. Like chicks aren't sitting there watching his content thinking, I wonder if he's legit. They can pick up on this stuff really quickly. Like my
and they're impulsive and emotional. Like men are usually
they get
not,
a gut
right?
feeling like this guy is a creep or this guy's normal. This guy's half out.
And then they blurt it out. That guy's like an alien.
Yeah. The dudes, most dudes don't do that. Most dudes get confused. They take things at face value and they're like, well, he says this. So dudes are notoriously, like, on the average guy's notoriously bad on picking this kind of stuff up. I
want to say this too. Hang on a second. The Rollo is a very effective liar. They need to read a book called here it is. I would recommend all of you, if they want to understand the frauds in the Manosphere, they need to read a book called Snakes and Suits by Robert Hare, PhD. He's a clinical psychologist, I think, up in Canada. He's a famous psychopath researcher. This is a big book. I mean, this came out, I don't know how many years ago at this point. But this guy's awesome for understanding psychopaths and sociopaths and cluster B personality disorders, all kinds of fucked up, dangerous personalities, basically. Whether or not they meet criteria for a specific disorder is not particularly relevant. Rollo is fucked up like that. Like, Rollo is an aggressive liar who's good at it, who's been doing it for a long time. What I mean by that is one of the best ways to lie is to lie in public and hide behind that lie. Like, the perfect cover is like telling the opposite. So Rollo says, like, I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the money. He repeats this this mantra constantly. The reality is he makes 80 to 90% of his income off of the rational male. He's completely in it for the money. He's been in it for the money for a long fucking time. He projects the opposite to virtue signal because these guys believe it because they buy shit at face value. Rollo said he's not in it for the money. He must not be in it for the money. Or maybe he says this every week on a show to condition these guys to bullshit them, to get in their fucking ear, to get in their fucking head, to control their fucking fingers, to go on Patreon and put in their fucking credit card. That's how sick this shit is. These people are manipulators and fucking predators, man. And your guys should read Snakes and Suits and they'll fucking get it, man. There's a lot of people, chicks are like this too, man. These chicks that are really fucked up, like mega fucked up with mega daddy issues, they're the same fucking way. They're snakes. And Rollo is one of those motherfuckers, just like Donovan and Myra and all these fucks. They're pathological liars. They don't stop. It's like breathing for them. They just constantly fucking lie.
Yeah, we knew a guy like that in high school. Like, we saw him like a year later after we all graduated. Like, yo, Anthony, his actually name was Anthony, funny enough. I'm like, what have you been doing, man? He's like, I've been in Iraq, fighting, killing terrorists. Yep. You haven't. Like, you've been sitting in your mom's basement. Like, come on,
dude. We had two guys in high school like that, and I didn't understand that when I was in high school. But it's one of these, like Rollo. There was two guys. There was Keith, and there was Ryan. They both did the same squirrely shit, and no one else in school did this. I had like 2,000 students in my high school. Like, no one did this but them. So one time, I think it was Ryan. He on the weekend on Friday we saw him. Then we see him on Monday. We're like, hey, what'd you do for the weekend, man? He's like, oh, I was in Australia. I went in a helicopter with my dad, and we were looking at like sharks and shit. And we're like, we live in Florida. We're like, bro, you obviously didn't get on a plane. It takes like how many hours to get to Australia? You didn't go there, get on a helicopter and fly back and get here on Monday. This didn't happen. And then later, Keith did something similar, and he was like, yeah, I was in Egypt on Saturday. And we're like, no. And now these kids come from traumatic homes, which is why it was happening so young. With Rollo and Donovan, these guys are in their 40s and 50s. It's a bit different. But they basically had really traumatic childhoods, and they just had to go to school and just bullshit when really they were at home and their mom was beating them or their parents were fighting or some crazy shit. But they would just go to school and be like, yeah, I was looking at sharks in Australia on the weekend, like on my helicopter. Like, bro, you don't have a helicopter. You didn't go to Australia. Just like Donovan. Donovan talks about his wife's like a hard 9 or better, like a 10, right? This bitch is a Ninja Turtle. She's a Ninja Turtle. She's like a 2 or maybe a 1. I mean, we're being nice calling her a 3.
Donovan was like, guys, my wife is not, traditionally attractive, but I like her anyway. that's the end of that. Like, there's
That's
nothing else.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay, that's his choice. The problem is,
Love is
again,
blind. Love is blind.
is the hypocrisy.
Yep.
One little anecdote I want to share
I mean,
is
hang on before you get into though.
what?
Rollo married an older woman past the 30 wall. Rollo is the guy who goes on his channel and bitches for 5-hour live streams about post-wall women, just like Donovan, right? Post-wall women. The wall is undefeated. Really, Rollo? Why did you marry an older woman past the 30 wall? Oh, I wonder fucking why. And then you're gonna preach to these guys to not do what you did, but do what you say. Don't do what I do, but do what I say. This is hypocrisy to the max. It's so fucking dumb. It's so gay.
The hypocrisy is just mind blowing. Yeah, but kind of the
shut up.
anecdote I want to share was when I was growing up. I don't know. This might be beneficial to some guys. When I was growing up, I was never a chronic liar, but lie like the average person. You just tell stupid lies and you hope you don't get caught in. One issue I had is I was always low key paranoid because also I had social anxiety at that time. I was way too sensitive to how people felt. So when I was younger, I used to really want to get everyone to like me, which is actually how you get people not to like you, ironically. And I was always paranoid that I was going to get caught in my lies. And it like gave me this like low level anxiety. When I was about 19, I read this Tucker Max book. I Hope This Her Beer in Hell. And one of the things in there, he doesn't talk about it directly, but he's just very brutally honest. And he like quickly mentions in the passage how like being brutally honest has been beneficial to him. And then I had like almost like a little epiphany. I was like, wait, like this guy, bangs or at least claims to bang a lot of chicks. And, he's brutally honest. Why don't I try that? And dude, like it was like literally it was like a fucking blanket was like lifted off my head. Like just it's not like I had no anxiety, but like noticeably less anxiety moving forward. Just because I never had to worry. I'm never worried about being caught in a lie. I'm never worried about being called out because I just don't lie about shit. And it makes your life so much easier. And I'm not even just talking about on YouTube, like with my girl, like just being super honest. I never have to worry, oh shit, what if she catches me? What if she finds out? That thought never enters my mind. It's just full transparency.
Well, when you lie,
friends, business, like it just makes your life so much easier in the end, honestly.
For sure. Yeah. And the reality is when you lie, you have to make double realities. That's why you get anxiety. You make double, triple fake realities that you have to remember. You got to remember the lie to that person and that person and that person. And those two shared a lie, but that guy doesn't know about the lie and you know the truth. Exactly. And this guy knows the truth. You create this whole web of stupidity that you have to deal with. And that gives you stress and anxiety. That's why I think Rollo freaks out for hours at a time over your 15-minute video. Because this dude lives in a bubble of anxiety thinking about me and, what scheme does Anthony have next? He has double agents of Alex playing with fire, secret agents.
So outrageous if you actually know.
I know.
History, like it's so outrageous. It's like the dumbest thing ever. Like I'm a secret agent. Like playing with fire is just a cover. I started 4 years ago.
That's what he thinks, and he goes for hours at a time on his YouTube channel that has a sizable audience, 100,000 something, and he actually believes this shit and he spouts it, and dudes believe it. Like these guys are gullible as fuck, man. They need to stay away from that guy. Super
and
toxic.
His logic is so poor. It's like because I'm a speaker at the convention, I must actually be working for you. Like that's how his mind works. And you think the other stuff he talks about, if your mind can go, well, because someone's a speaker at the convention, they must be a secret agent for that person. That's the logical leap you made. So then you trust him to interpret some old ass study to make his points. Like sometimes when he quotes studies, it's completely unrelated to his argument. He's like, because this study found that 40% of women are obese, it means that blah 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 his concept. And people are like, oh, okay, he has studies. Right.
I've seen Rollo trying to argue that the red pill, his red pill, the Rollo pill, is connected to crypto. No, it's not connected. The only connection between the Rational Mail books and Rollo and crypto is your wallet. He doesn't care about crypto. He just promotes this shit to sell courses and make 50% commission on it. That's what that's why crypto has been a thing in the Manosphere. They don't Rollo doesn't know anything about crypto. Why the fuck would he? He's an intersexual dynamics hypergamy expert with a PhD in retard. And then he promotes crypto all the time. Why? Because it makes him money. He doesn't care about anything to do with crypto. But his fucking idiot fans are like cult followers. Just like with RSD. They suck Owen Cook's dick no matter what. Cook's dick is in all his RSD dude's mouth is forever. They don't ever want to, and they like that dick in their mouth. They're like kind of gay in that way. It's digital. This digital fucking relationship. It is sick. They really look up to these guys like father figures, and they're not. They're sick. They're fucked in the head. Rollo has a god complex, narcissistic personality disorder, all kinds of fucked up shit, man. He's super fucked.
Well, I think what winds up happening, which is very unfortunate, is when, like, for example, a Rollo fan or whatever, like, a Fresh and Fit fan, is their identity becomes tied to that person because you should never like worship fucking YouTubers. Like, even me, like, don't worship me. Like, yeah, I'm a cool
Yep.
guy, who gives good content, but like, don't think of me as a god or something like that. Like, that's not a good thing to have. And I think, again, what happens, a lot of these guys, they don't have traditional role models like their dad or something like that, a traditional
Mhm.
role model. So they basically, like you said, make a father figure out of a YouTuber. And then their
Yep.
identity becomes tied to it. So when I make a video criticizing, it's like I'm talking shit about their dad. Like, that's how
Yeah.
they react. They get
Yep.
super defensive and like super, and they're not even like, making logical points. Like,
I know.
you got small dick and you're a fag and you're just hating on Rollo's clout.
Yep.
That's your argument.
I call them the beta male police, the BMP, because they're like the police that come out. They come out of the woodworks. They type all this crazy shit, right? I just ban them instantly forever. That way they
Oh,
can comment forever.
I love answering them and going back and forth with them.
Yeah, sometimes I will, but usually I just ban them because there's so many of them, and then I can just get rid of them forever. And then they keep commenting, and they don't even know that they're banned. So it's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
your
It's
channel's
like a
gonna
ghost
pop in
ban.
mind. Actually, Rollo shadow banned me from his comments. I had like a
Sure.
very nice response to that video that I wanted to give. Shadow ban.
Dude, Rollo all year has been taking down blog posts about me. He used to leave them up for like a long time. This year he's been pruning all his posts and removing anything about me. He hates me so much. I think he's like jealous of me because I'm younger. My YouTube channel is like 3 times the size. He tried to fuck me and steal my company, and I ended up kind of butt fucking him in public. Is basically what happened. And plus, he doxed all these guys, and I exposed him on that. Like, that guy is such a fuck up. It's unreal. These people in the chat are asking about why is Rollo a fraud. Like, man, I don't even know where to start. Like,
Yeah, we actually
can we
covered that
begin?
very extensively in the first interview. So if you guys want to see the full story of the doxing and how their business relationship transpired, we
Yes.
covered it like really extensively in the first
I
interview.
also just published a 2.5-hour documentary on the truth about Rollo Tomassi that they can go watch, where this is all not only in our interview, but this is all like officially organized by myself and 2 other speakers I had involved with it. And I'm the beginning, like 25 minutes, and then I have other people take on the mantle with it. But it's very like detailed, has all the evidence and links and shit. Like, it's super intricate. There's like a 15-page document, for example, that we put out as an official statement. That line item detailed why Rollo was basically a fraud and a manipulator and had like really seriously fucked up intentions for a lot of people, myself and many others included at the conventions and speakers.
Yeah, man, I really respect how, like, I don't know, like, organized I guess you are, and like thorough, I guess, is the
Thanks.
best. Like, I wish I was that organized, but like, you're very like structured in the way you present content, which is good for the viewer because it just, like, it's not a fucking
Yeah.
mess.
When I'm
Let's
mad, I get that way. I'm like, I'm gonna be a surgeon and dissect this fraudulent piece of shit in public.
right.
I did that with Donovan too, and people loved it.
Let's take a few questions, and we'll jump into the 21 convention because we got to really cover that.
Sure.
How's there a dislike when the video hasn't started? Yeah, welcome to the world of haters.
Yep.
Let's answer this question. Anthony, what is your lay count? Does your day game or night game structure look like?
Sure. So 2-part question. My lay count's about 130. I don't know the exact number. I lost count a while ago. I don't think most guys do past like 50. You just kind of like,
Yeah, I lost count at like 40 or 50 exactly.
yeah, you progressively kind of lose. It's still cool, but you just progressively, the number is important when it's really low. And then the more it gets like incrementally less important. And then at some point you just don't care. I don't know how the fuck John Anthony cares.
Well, I don't know either.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's the next level too. But I will say that I've turned down probably more than that. And I hate fat women. Nothing like spiritual. I just sexually, I really don't like fat women and ugly women. I like hot, fit women. And yeah, in America, obviously, there's a lot of fat, gross, nasty ass women. In other countries, it's not the case, man. Norway, Sweden, Poland have like beautiful women.
Bro, we live in South Florida where it's not even that bad. Let's go to like Idaho. Like,
we're actually Alabama, Mississippi, like all that bullshit.
Yeah,
bro.
We're actually getting like the best, like, on average. Miami.
Alan Roger Curry came to Orlando for our convention a couple times. Good dude. And one of my favorites, a legit seducer, someone actually is a real godfather of the Manosphere, unlike these fraudulent fucking losers. And he was talking about how good the quality women are in Orlando. And that's when I realized, I was like, man, maybe I'm kind of like, I've been to other countries, so I have a good perspective, but maybe in America I'm kind of spoiled. Because like I think the women in Orlando suck, but like maybe they're actually a lot better than the other women in America. Dude, Miami is definitely better for sure.
My mom lives in like rural New Jersey, and I visit her once a year for like our family reunions. And like, it's just like the airport, Miami International, and Newark International Airport, it's like a night and day difference. Like
Yep.
you become, yeah, because you're like used to seeing attractive girls, so you just go like, it's not a hot girl. In New
Yeah.
Jersey, like you're walking around fat, gross,
In
fat.
Orlando too, COVID has changed this for at least for now, but we typically have a lot of Brazilian women, Colombian women, South America, but especially other women too, like Puerto Rican,
Yeah,
whatever. But
yeah,
it's a lot of Brazilians and Colombians, and they're not they're feminine, they're not fat. Like I mean, they might have big booty. Like my friend Xavier loves the big booty Latinas.
Yeah, me too.
I think you know him, you know Xavier,
Yeah,
but they're still not like tubs of lard though, like a lot of American women, you know. So I'm used to that in Orlando. I don't know if I really have a structure. I guess I'm super blunt and direct, like all this, the kind of what you've been talking about in terms of your revelation of honesty. When I was younger, I was much more into like mystery method and stuff like that, and trying to be these like indirect games with women. But over the years, and RST, I admit, was actually instrumental in that in the late 2000s and early 2010s. They had a focus back then on like inner game instead of the outer game technical stuff back in the day. With like going through mystery method, like what is it, A1 through A3, C1 through C3S, all this like the whole mystery method model and shit, right? So I'm like very, very blunt with women, and I know what I want, and I typically just kind of like voice that as assertively as I can. So, for example, if I'm at a bar at night with a woman, I just meet her a couple minutes in, especially if I don't drink much, but I'll have like one drink when I go out, maybe two. I tend to be like very careful with that. I'm not into DUIs and shit. Right. But if I've had like one drink, I'll be like, hey, are you on birth control? And this will be like totally out of nowhere, like 2 minutes in a conversation.
Oh, really?
Like, what? Like, yeah, you're on birth control. And like, what? Why? What? Yeah, why? Like, oh, I'm just, I just want to bust a nut in you tonight. So,
oh, you'll really say that?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm savage as fuck, bro.
Oh, dude, we're gonna go out in Orlando. I did not know you were that direct. It's like way more direct. Are you fucking with me, or that you're serious?
No, I'm dead serious, bro. Like,
oh shit.
That I say that wearing like this hat or make women great again. I'm like a trigger fest for women. My shirt on the back will say the future is masculine. So if they see me walking around, they read this. Girls have said this to me, even at conferences and shit. I've been to like a lot of political events this year. And these girls will like I fuck me or eyeball me because my shirt stands out because it says the future is patriarchy or the future is masculine, which is like so triggering in today's culture. And then I walk up with this hat on and I don't say anything about it. It says toxic masculinity, make women great again, and I just don't say anything about it. So it's kind of
polarizing, which is a good thing.
It's really, to me, it's this old school peacocking, but adapted to the modern environment of woke and feminism and all this crap. It's all like obviously anti-feminism. I'm like, toxic masculinity, right here, bitch, right this way.
Wait, so what kind of reactions do you get to? I'm curious to the I'm gonna bust a nut in you or shit. Like
I don't always say it. A lot of it as you know, has to do with delivery. So if I'm gonna say something like that, it's gonna be delivered very even, like very blasé, like casual. Like, oh, I just want to like bust a nut in your vagina later, or just something like that, you know. And they'll be like, wait, what? Like, because it's unusual. Anyone can say that and deliver it like very even keel. And I do it on purpose. Like, I think it's really funny. And it's how I like to live. I like to just be super blunt. And it's true. Like, why am I talking to this girl at 2 a.m. at a bar? I want to bust a nut in you. Like, why the fuck else am I talking to you? There's very unlikely there's many other reasons. There, in theory, there could be more than that. Oh, maybe I want you to be my girlfriend or whatever, right? But most likely, like, I'm horny. I have a dick. You have a vagina. You're hot. I want to put my dick in you and bust a nut. So I just want this to be extremely blunt and to the point, like the path of least resistance, right? Like physics and shit. So
yeah, I'm pretty blunt, but I think you take it to a whole new level.
I don't always do that. That's not like 10 times. I'm
very curious to see this in real life. You definitely piqued my curiosity with that. The next question, Alex, have you confirmed if MLD stole your course? Okay, so he stole John Anthony's course. The deal with my course was that he didn't steal it per se. He was just giving out like free copies of it. So it wasn't like I guess you could say that's stealing, but yeah. And this is coming directly from a guy who was a client of his and then became a client of mine. He was like, yo, dude. And like to this day, he's like, please don't say my name. But like, this is what happened with like, the course, which, good thing he brought it to my attention. So yeah, that's the deal with that. Anthony, why do you claim Rollo is a fraud? Didn't you know he was one when you promoted him? Anyways, get Bradicus with Deem, Ultimate Match Giver again. Okay, so it's like two separate things. One is like a recommendation. One is
I know Austin Summers. I don't know these other guys. I think I've maybe heard of UMP, Ultimate Man Project, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I'm
have a
not
lot
the
of speakers
biggest
to
fan.
deal with, man. That's a lot of. We have like 30 something speakers confirmed for one event in like a couple weeks, and we've had like 100 and probably 70 at this point speak at the convention, almost like
Mhm.
165 or something. Yeah, I'm not opposed. I mean, if we have room next year, there's probably no way to add it this year. It's too late, man. There's like it's been especially 21 convention, the main event's been like packed for a while. Now, in terms of why Rollo's a fraud, I mean, we just talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
There's the interview we were extensively covered it. I just put out a documentary that officially covers it on my channel called "The Truth About Rollo Tomassi," and that has links to even more evidence. And for example, a 15-page statement that's very formal and official, like legal kind of document ish. And but the main thing I would say, I mean, man, it's hard to know where to start. But one of the most egregious things, probably the most egregious thing Rollo's ever done, I call it a war crime against the Manosphere in a way, is he doxed the location of over 50 men to a feminist reporter at the New York Times in 2018, October 14th, I think was the exact date. Her name was Nellie Bowles, and he had a long history of talking with this woman. And he doxed our location to this woman against my will, my wishes, as the guy leading the event. We were at 21 Convention. This was like a after party, and all the other speakers, because we all knew this chick was in town, this reporter, and none of us wanted to talk to her that day because we're like, it's too dangerous. So we don't want her seeing the attendees. What if she has a body cam? What if she comes with a photographer, even from a distance with like a lens, right? These
Yeah.
dudes could end up on the front page of the New York Times as male supremacist Nazis or whatever stupid nonsense they would make up. And if that happens to me, it is what it is. I'm a public figure. But if someone, we have attorneys attend the conference, doctors, surgeons, law enforcement, military guys, like they can't deal with that. That's not their life,
No,
man.
I completely see your point. Like these guys,
Yeah.
the tickets aren't cheap. They're one of the things they're paying for is privacy and anonymity. That's kind of like
Yeah.
the unspoken agreement is like, like you're
Yeah.
not gonna, dox me or whatever. So
And
yeah, you have
we'll
an
do
obligation to,
yeah.
protect them.
I'm not a super secret agent, right? You might be for me, but I'm not,
That's fine. Yeah.
so I can't guarantee your privacy, but I'm going to do everything I reasonably can to protect that when you're an attendee at my conference,
Right.
unless you intentionally don't care and you want to take photos with the speaker, and you publish that. And if I'm not going to stop an attendee from taking a picture with you and posting on Instagram, of course. But in terms of the other guys that we don't know where they stand on that spectrum, no, it's all private. Did we blur out every face in the photos and the videos of our speeches? And it's very, and we don't even show the audience a lot of the time. People are like, oh, no one's even there. We've had hundreds of guys attend the convention. Since 2007, we've had over 1,500 attendees, well over 1,000, like a lot all over the world, man. Australia, Poland, Sweden, all kinds of shit. But I don't show the audience usually because it's dangerous, man. Especially these days. Back in the day, it was a little bit different. It was just kind of like taboo to pick up stuff. But now it's like you can get fucking fired from your job and shit.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And Rollo is just a loser with women, number one. He has no business talking about men engaging with women. He's just a fucking total fuck up. Like, really, legitimately, in real life, I'm not saying it to insult him. Well, I am saying it to insult him, but that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is he really is a creepy, socially awkward loser. He doesn't understand women. He doesn't understand masculinity. He doesn't understand being a man. He doesn't understand how to engage with women. He doesn't understand how to fuck women. He doesn't understand anything about women. Rollo is the biggest keyboard jockey, fraud, loser, warrior in this whole fucking community by a long shot. Like, I think even Donovan Sharp went out to clubs and shit and banged fat women back in the day. Some, not a lot, but some fat women. Okay, I can give him that, and that's why he married an old fat lady, a Ninja Turtle. But Rollo, I think, is just Rollo has a late count of like 40, and even that's probably exaggerated. Like, it's probably like 30 or something or whatever, right? So Rollo's is a complete fucking loser, complete keyboard jockey, and saying you're a theory guy is not an excuse for that. That's his code for you're a creepy loser and you just bullshit on the internet all day. So you
That'd be
pander
like
to
the
women's
equivalent of like
encouragement.
a really skinny guy who doesn't go to the gym because he doesn't, whatever. He likes to do cardio, giving
Dude,
you
he used to
technical fitness advice. You're like, bro, but you don't actually lift yourself. Yeah, but I'm just a theory guy. I just read the other studies about fitness. I tell you, give you my opinion on it. Like, would you
I would
really
give him, dude, if he was like a real therapist with a license to practice and had a master's degree or a PhD in
that would be a different
psychology,
story.
yeah, because he would be engaging with real clients in real life where there's like liability on the line. He's just a bullshitter on the internet I don't want to make fun of all his fans because not all of them are cultists, little weirdos.
No, it's definitely not all by any stretch.
Yeah, and if you're just a normal dude who found his work 6 months ago, I get why guys might be like, "Why is Anthony saying that?" I used to love Rollo's work, man. I'm cited. He thanks me in the third book, The Rational Male, Positive Masculinity. Anthony Johnson is clearly in that book on like page whatever at the end of the book. He thanks me specifically, a whole fucking paragraph.
It's not a complete black and white thing. So sometimes people get the impression that I think everything he does is bullshit. Some of the things he says, I very much agree with.
Me too, dude. Me too.
If we go through his 8 rules, I think I agree with 5 of them, disagree with 3 or something like that, or maybe like I agree with 3, am on the fence about 2, and agree. Like, so it's not like all he says is bullshit. No, that's not the case. You know,
there's another part of this question, by the way. You know, didn't you know he was one when you promoted him? So Rollo spoke at my convention multiple times. He spoke in 2017, 2018, and 2019 in the spring at the fatherhood event, the patriarch event. And we owned a company together, the Redman Group. It was split 3 ways: myself, Rollo, Tomassi, and Richard Cooper. There's a whole fucking stupid ass story with that. You know, we covered that probably in our interview last time. It's also in the documentary.
Yeah.
So there is a video though of me in 2017 giving my keynote speech at the convention called "The Future Is Masculine." It's on YouTube. Guys can go check it out. And that was filmed in late September, I think, 2017 at the event. And I said right to Rollo's face, he's sitting in front of me, probably like 80 feet in front of me or whatever, in front of the stage, right? And I said, you know, when I found Rollo's work in 2015, we found it in like late 2015, looking for speakers, looking for fresh blood for the event, you know, speakers. And when I found the Rational Male blog, which I used to love, right? When I found it, it wasn't really that I completely loved it. I was like, I actually said in the speech, that's why I bring it up, as I was like, I don't know if this guy is a genius or the biggest bullshitter I've ever seen. I said that in real life in front of Rollo's face. And that was still kind of my thinking then. I couldn't really figure him out, right? This is back in 2017. There was not anyone in public really attacking Rollo except feminists and stupid shit like that, which I didn't care about. They're all losers anyway, usually. So it wasn't like there was guys in the Manosphere who were presenting, you know, real life experiences of Rollo that were very bizarre, like I've had. They were all sketchy and fucking weird. Or this, you know, you have guys like John Anthony and you now, and even myself, we dig into his leg count and the things he's saying on an intellectual level. And other guys too have fought with him too. Dr. Sean Smith, a psychologist, he had a big debate with Rollo on Richard Cooper's channel. It's still public. Guys can go watch it. Rollo gets his ass handed to him because Sean is the guy who actually cares about science and Rollo doesn't. He just pretends to because that's what guys want to hear. That's stuff at face value. Wow. So anyway, when I was promoting him, I didn't know he was a fraud. I wasn't yet as combative. It wasn't until me and Rollo had our fight in public. When he came at me, he attacked me in public first. I'm like, all right, fuck this. Gloves are coming off. We're going to war. I'm sick of these frauds. I'm sick of this bullshit. I've watched way too much of it and stood silent for too long in this community. I'm sick of it. And it's not always enough to just focus on yourself and produce good content, man. Real life doesn't work like that. There's conflict, there's fights, there's drama, there's lawsuits, like all kinds of shit, man. That's real life. It's messy. It's not like, just be positive, bro. It's going to be fine. No, it doesn't work like that. Frauds need to be addressed. Hypocrisy needs to be called out. Bullshitters need to be exposed. All that shit. That's masculine. Yeah. That's what men do,
sure.
man.
I mean, like, this is a very extreme example, but imagine if, like, the, you know, in the late 30s, America just focused on itself. You know, let those Germans do their thing.
Yeah.
You know, killing Jews. We don't really like that, but, you know,
work itself out. Don't worry about it.
Let them focus on their thing. We're going to focus on our thing. Like, it's a very extreme example, but it applies. Like, staying silent when you see something wrong is not a good characteristic. Like, you should speak up. As a man, you should speak up. And that's not to knock the content creators who don't say anything, because I understand, like, they just don't want to get involved in. That's their choice. But at the same time, you want there to be other content creators who call out the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take the next question. Do you see Spencer Cornelius on No Jumper? Yeah, I like No Jumper a lot, actually, and I like Spencer a lot. So it was a cool collab to see that.
I like Spencer too. I don't know No Jumper, but Spencer's cool.
Yeah, no, I like Adam. This is what me and J-Mo disagree on. Okay, let's take a few more. Okay, this is kind of related to that, but I guess the question is, how were you able to work with those guys for so long?
Some of them more than that long. I mean, Rollo, or let's say Rich, for example, Rich Cooper. I started talking to him in 2017. I met him in late 2017 at the 21 convention. That relationship only lasted from we met in late 2017 in person at the convention. And then the last time I saw him and he started attacking me like a couple days later was early 2019. So that was like a year and a half. And I actually think Rich Cooper is less of a fraud than these other guys. I do think he's kind of a beta male, role playing as this hyper alpha male with the beard and shit. Fake testosterone, he shoots in his ass and all that bullshit.
Well, I do that too.
But he's just, to me though, he's like fake though. So to me, it's funny and it's fun to make fun of it.
Right.
Because he's fake masculinity, cognitively or mentally, but then also he shoots it in his ass. So it's just fun to poke fun of him for it. Donovan also does it, but he takes cheap Chinese shit. Cooper at least doesn't take cheap Chinese shit. That's why Donovan gets acne and like all this bullshit. He's an idiot with it. He was pissing blood on Instagram with Donovan about 2 months ago.
What,
It's on
TRT?
I don't know, man. His organs are failing. He's like 43 and his organs are failing. He has a big bag of like a gallon of blood piss that they took out of him. Yeah, dude, it's all over his Instagram. Like, it's public. And this guy talks about getting healthy and getting fit to men. It's like, this is so retarded. This is just unbelievably fucked. Anyway, with Rollo is much more dangerous, and guys don't understand that. There's a reason Rollo hates me. It's because I kind of defanged him and really caused a lot of problems in his life, especially in the Manosphere, where that's like his baby. He loves being this fake red pill Santa Claus, all his little cult followers, right? Yep. And I was the first guy to really forcefully rip that mask off. I forcefully removed him from the Red Man group for his failure with an attorney. There's a whole fucking document to it, for his failure to adhere to fiduciary financial responsibility basically to the company by doxing the location of that event to Nelly Bowles. The Red Man group was directly involved in that event. We had holes, set up, costs were shared, and all kinds of shit. He didn't understand the basic law. Like, dude, you own part of this company. You can't sabotage it on purpose. Whatever your schemes are for blowing up in the media or some shit, that doesn't matter. You can't just burn down, the building of your company. Like, he had a real responsibility for the company at that point. So some of these guys, like Rollo, is very dangerous. And I'll actually point you, Alex, to a blog post when we're done. It's from a blog called Secular Patriarchy. It's just basically a Manosphere blog. And the guy is like a historian of the Manosphere. And he's the first guy I've ever seen. He intricately detailed the fight between me and Rollo that happened on like a power level. Because he had known Rollo was a fraud for years before I did. And he was tracking that Rollo was really good at developing relationships and manipulating people and controlling them. He controls Cooper. He controls Ryan Stone. He controls MLD. All these guys are puppets to him. Notice they never disagree with him. You want to go debate with him and disagree with him? He can't tolerate that because in his head, he's a god. He's never wrong. When has Rollo ever been wrong in public? All these guys watching. They can go look through hours, 1,000 hours of Rollo content on his channel. They will never find once where Rollo said he's wrong ever. You'll never find it because he's never wrong because he's a fucking narcissist. He thinks he's a god. Like, he has a good Jesus complex.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Rollo was dangerous. Cooper, I didn't really know, to be honest. And Cooper is much more normal than these guys. Like, I do think he's like this beta male douchebag who rips guys off with his phone coaching and shit. But it's nowhere near the predatory aggression of Rollo and Donovan. Donovan's just straight up slinging bullshit. I mean, this guy's he was a used car salesman before he got in the Manosphere. He admitted that on stage at our event. And I was kind of like, whoa, that's interesting. But Donovan, too. Donovan was another guy. He wasn't dangerous or anything. Donovan's like this big dummy. But also, Donovan's complicated. He lied to a lot of people in very small ways. And then it all got back to me. And I had this big bag of lies and bullshit. And I'm like, man, what do I do with this?
I gained massive respect for Donovan when he debated Kevin. Because at least like he was willing to debate. Like Rollo.
But I'd say that's a little bit better for Donovan. There's some merit there, but mostly Donovan does that because Donovan also is this huge keyboard jockey at this point. He doesn't have any game. He never did. He just fucked some fat women and that's it. And then he married all fat women and lied about it for years. So Donovan, I think, does these debates because he tries to play the red pill alpha male, not only in general, but like, I'm gonna red pill alpha male in a red pill relationship. Yeah, right. His bitch runs him. But he wants to go on YouTube and be that red pill guy. He wants to play the figure of like this red pill podcaster who goes around debating and fighting for the red pill and fighting for the Manosphere. He doesn't. He's just a manipulator and an abuser. He talks about beating women in public. We have videos of that. And he just fucks an old fat woman and then he lies about it. And all he does is to manipulate guys. It's all to suck money out of these guys. That's it. They don't care about the feminism. They don't care about masculinity. They don't care about the Manosphere. They don't care about picking up chicks. None of that shit. It's all just to scam guys. They see it as a target market, like a very niche but lucrative target market of hurt dudes that suck with chicks. And it's like, it's just money for them to get money. They sell them all these courses. It's hot air. It's bullshit. It's digital nothing. It costs them pennies to produce this stuff. It's a big scam. It's not even good content. It's not even good content.
Let me quickly defend my buddy. So there's no way John Anthony's not fraud. Watch his infield. Okay. So let me kind of just break this down. There's generally speaking and then after this, tell me like, how much you agree with this, or there's generally two schools of criticism that you see about John. The first school of criticism is that he's a fraud. He's lying. He's making shit up. These girls are hookers, blah, blah. The second school of criticism is, yeah, this guy's just an asshole. Like, I just don't like him. His game may be solid, but he's just a massive, whatever, blah, 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 insert something. So when I first met John, I was probably in the second category. I really had a bad initial first impression of him due to his online persona. Like, this is so he actually, he was messaging me, and I was like very dismissive because I was like, this guy seems like a dick. Um, Over time, we developed like a friendship, but so I was still very skeptical a lot. I'm generally a very skeptical person. So he came to LA and we went out. I tailed him on his boot camp. Like, he's just like, yo, come along for free, dude. Even though that was during his like peak drinking problem, I was like blown away by how solid his actual game is. So
Nice.
I understand the criticism that he comes off like an asshole, blah blah blah. I think that I don't personally feel that way. I think he isn't really good in the way he presents himself. I don't think he's an asshole per se, but I can definitely see why people really don't like his style and delivery. But that doesn't mean someone can be a narcissist, someone can be an asshole. Again, not saying he is those things, but someone could be that and still have really legit game. In fact, I would make the argument that being a narcissist actually helps you with game. It's not the other way around. So those things are not too mutually exclusive. So in terms of, look, I wasn't there for each one of the girls John fucked. Like, I'm not hiding in the closet. Like, but I have no reason to doubt his leg count and no reason to doubt his game, simply because I've gone out with him multiple times. I've traveled with a guy. Like, it's not like, I just met him briefly once. Like, we've traveled together, blah, blah. And I've literally seen the girls that he, I wasn't there in the room, but like, like everything leading up to that. So like, yeah, I have no reason to doubt, his leg count. In terms of his infield, his style is just pretty straightforward and direct, which is honestly quite similar to my style. I think there's big misconception that game should be like this fancy thing, where it's like it looks real good game shouldn't look like game. Something, if it looks like the guy's gaming the girl, that's not actually a good game. So I think that's another big misconception. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think a lot about. I mean, number one, the last thing you just said, that's the RSC guys. I would be at a bar like Cowboys, one of my favorite bars. I go to Xavier with there a lot. Shit, you would see these RSD guys. You'd see them talk to girls, and it was just like super awkward. You saw the same thing in the 2000s when guys were doing Mystery Method. They were doing way too much like routines and all kinds of dumb little bullshit. And like a little bit of that, like a thumb wrestle game or something, is fine, but they took it way too far because they were just
if
like,
it looks like the guy's trying to pick up the girl, then that's not good game by default.
Exactly. Yes. And no matter what era of the Manosphere we're in, there's always been an iteration of that. As far as John Anthony, I would say, I mean, you said maybe a narcissist or an asshole, not that he is those things. I would just say he's like super abrasive, and I love it. And that to me is probably linked. Like you're saying, it could be good for women. I just would describe him as very, very abrasive. Like I like to be abrasive too. It's a lot of fun. He's actually a little bit more abrasive than me, which is amazing. But yeah, that's part of the reason women love him. They're attracted to that. He's super fucking abrasive on YouTube and with chicks. I guarantee you. There's no way he's some fucking nice guy pushover with chicks. He's abrasive. He's kind of an asshole, and they love it because it shows strength and it shows character and it shows balls. He's not going to take shit from some chick. Why would he? He's John Anthony. He's fucked 1,400 women. He's going to do what the fuck he wants, right? They love that. That's like crack to women. That's like literally snorting cocaine for them.
The one thing I will say about him also is like when you meet him in real life, like when I first met him in real life, I was like, dude, you're like way more chill and funny than like you come off. He's actually a pretty funny guy. Like he's actually very hilarious. Like he could, I don't know if he could be a stand-up comedian, but like he's a really funny guy, and he's actually pretty chill. Like when he's not drinking, he's pretty chill. Like he's just like laid back. He's not like super intense in your face. He's just like a normal guy you can chill with who cracks a lot of jokes and he's like good with game. So his image online in terms of his personality is not exactly the way he is in real life. And I'm talking about for the better. Like he's actually cooler in real life than he's online.
Yeah. People said this about me too. Like I'm more normal in real life. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was exactly my impression of you. Exactly.
Thanks. I come more monotone on the internet. I'm like,
well, like since we're on the topic, when I first started watching your video, my initial impression was, if I'm just being fully honest, was like a guy who's like angry and like just like super like like not even abrasive, just like angry and butthurt. But like when I met you in real life, you're like super chill. You're like a normal person. Like you just have like a normal conversation. You're just like a chill, normal human being. Who outside of this, I could see myself being, I consider my friend, but like outside of like the work, like just a normal person you can grab a beer with. A lot of like these other guys, they're not like that. Like they're not like normal people you can just talk to. They're just like, I don't know, just
They're
Weird.
extremely poorly socially calibrated. They don't have social skills. Fuck dating and banging chicks. They can't even just like have a beer or a cigar. They can't do that. They
Yeah.
just can't. They need more help, and they're not going to get it. They're just going to sell you bullshit. Is what they're going to do. There was one thing I wanted to address here. Sujar Kumar, if he asked if you can pull that one up, it's at 9/11.
Is it the one before this or?
Nah, next one. There's one more he put out. Oh yeah, it's the next one. Yeah. Yeah, if Rollo doxed you, it makes him a rat, but how does it discredit his works? If anything, you promoted him as ideas. So first of all, this guy did not understand or didn't listen or whatever the fucker is being dishonest. I didn't say Rollo doxed me. I said he doxed over 50 guys, men like you guys watching this video in real life, to a New York Times reporter, a feminist. This lesbian, she's openly lesbian, open lesbian feminist reporter from the New York Times, fake news media to the fucking max. We didn't trust her for shit. Rollo was told not to tell her anything about where we're going, right? Everyone, me and like 10 speakers, dude. Like,
and he agreed to that, right?
As far as yes, dude, in person and over in right, and we have the chat, all this shit. And he just went and did it anyway. And then she showed up and he fucking lied about it like a bitch. We got a lot of it on video. You guys can watch it on my channel.
Yeah, no, I saw the video. Yeah, it's all on video.
So it's, dude, fuck him. It's these people always want to make it this personal beef. I don't have beef with Donovan Sharp. I just think he's a huge fraud, and I prove that. I prove that beyond any shadow of a doubt with like 1,000 receipts, right? And then videos of him talking about beating women. That's just him doing it himself. I don't have any personal vendetta against these dudes. Even Rollo, like I really don't like Rollo, but look, if you're a guy in the Manosphere and you call yourself the godfather of the red pill and the godfather of the Manosphere, and you want to help men, and it's about the mission and the cause and the truth about women, and the first thing you do in real life is throw 50 of them under the fucking bus to a feminist fucking reporter at the fucking New York Times, you're a fraud. You don't want to help men. You're going to fucking burn them the second. He literally tried to burn them with the fake news media the first chance he fucking had in real life. All of his fucking work, who cares? The guy is a complete fraud. His work is supposed to help you be a better man, be more rational with women and get laid more and whatever, understand women. That's all a fucking scam. If the guy really cared about any of that shit, he wouldn't try to fuck up your life for his own gain. And with real shit, like this is some serious shit, man. He got removed from a company over this, like lost fucking a lot of money and shit. It fucked up his whole life. So this is not, he didn't dox me. I've used my real name for like 14 years. Like I was never been doxed. It doesn't matter. It's that he doxed innocent attendees, guys who paid me money, guys who bought tickets through Rollo. Rollo got a cut of this, right? Rollo was paid commission on some tickets. He sold, I don't know how many of that year. Some of these guys he doxed, Rollo got paid on that. Do you know how sick that is? He was paid all this money to help promote the conference and sell tickets to his fans. He threw his own fans under the bus. Some of these guys didn't even know me. They just were there for Rollo and maybe one other guy. That's how the convention is built. They come for a couple of different speakers, and then they see this big platform of speakers. But you cannot be a guy who pretends to help men and be about the mission and the cause and the red pill, and then you fucking dox them. That's sick, man. You could get if you did that in any business in real life, any major corporation, the military, some government, nonprofit.
In military, you'd be fucked.
You'd be fucked, dude. You'd be fired. You'd be court-martialed. You'd be fucking.
I mean, that's literally Edward Snowden.
Yeah. So this is. I've never seen, dude. Of all the scamming all these guys do, it's pretty bad, right? But it's mostly just like scamming guys out of a couple $100, like money, maybe a couple thousand if they buy a boot camp and the guy's a fraud. Mm-hmm. But they're not putting their whole life on the line. They're not putting like getting doxxed. If those attendees ended up on the front page of the New York Times, their life probably would have been ruined. They could have got divorced from if they were wives, they're married and shit. They could have lost partnerships in business. They could have gotten fired from their job. Like their whole life could have been ruined from that. And he knew that. He fully fucking knew that when he did this. He writes about guys getting doxxed on his blog. This is part of what happens in the Manosphere, right? He talks the feminine imperative and all this shit. He's a complete fraud to the bone. That's what these guys need to understand. He's not just like a little bit of a fraud or even a lot of it. He's a complete fraud, total fraud to the max. And he hates that I know that, and he hates that I say it in public, because very few people have the balls to say that, and even fewer know him in real life like I do. I have pictures fishing with him, shark fishing, fishing for Jewfish and shit. Drilling and fishing. Yeah, Jewfish. They're a Goliath grouper now, but
it's like a regular fish, but it's really big.
It's a giant. It's like a 500-pound grouper. They're giant groupers.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they're called Jewfish for like 60 years, and like A couple years ago, they changed it to Goliath Cooper.
I've never heard it, but so I kind of might have a slightly different perspective on this. So I very much agree that doxing, what he did is super fucked up. It's unethical. It's fucked up. It needs to be called out. In my opinion, that does not. So I agree with your point. It doesn't discredit his works. I think there's other things that discredit his works. Simply the fact that in a lot of ways he's a hypocrite. Like the whole, talking about like all the wall and all that shit, and then marrying an older chick. Again, if he just married an older chick in vacuum, like that was the only thing he did, I have no problem with that. I'm complete libertarian. I think people should be free to live their own lives. You'll never see me criticize someone for just choosing to do things that I personally would do. But what I will criticize is the hypocrisy. If a person says something and does the opposite thing, like with the fresh and fit thing, I don't have any issue with them fucking with Myron, like leveraging his podcast to get laid. Like power to him. Like if that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. It's the fact that it's the hypocrisy behind the action. So it's the same thing here. But I don't like I said earlier, I don't disagree with everything Rollo says. I'm probably like 50-50.
I don't either.
Yeah. Like so, in my opinion. This is probably where you and I disagree. I don't think he's a total fraud, but I think he's largely a fraud because I think some things he says might help guys and some things will hurt guys.
I'll clarify my statement. When I say he's a total fraud, I mean he is a fundamental fraud. I agree with some of the things he says, not only in terms of women and stuff, but even recently he was criticizing Better Bachelor Joker. Better Bachelor put out a video, I don't know, maybe a month ago or a month and a half, how he's leaving YouTube. Oh my God, big thumbnail, leaving YouTube.
I hate when people do that.
Yeah, it's and
then they never leave.
And then they never leave. And I know that, and you know that because you're in this industry. These guys watching don't understand that. Rollo, to his credit, called this out, and Rollo's right. Better Bachelor is probably never going to leave YouTube. It's his bullshit. I agree with Rollo on that issue. I might even make a video about it because I agree with him firmly on that. And he also has been very critical of Roosh V. And he's right. Roosh V is fucked up and kind of full of shit on a lot of issues. Like, I don't even think Roosh V is a Christian, for example. This is another big pickup artist guy.
Interesting. That's aside, but yeah.
Yeah, and me and Rollo are some of the only guys who even would say that. I agree. Rollo was the first to say it, and he's right. I think he's right. I've met Roosh. I know Roosh. I think it's full of shit. It was a marketing pivot. That's how fucked up some of these guys are, man. And Rollo, to his credit, called this out, as far as I know, on his Twitter at one point. I don't know the exact quote. But yeah, so I agree with Rollo on some issues. But for me, he's a fundamental fraud because he pretends to want to help men, and then in real life, he tried to hurt them. Right? This isn't a game. This isn't like some product he stole, from somebody. That's pretty bad and stupid, but that's not like putting men in danger in their careers and their life. Like, this is fucked, man. What if Antifa showed up and started throwing fucking bricks at people or something? Like, you don't fucking know. The media works all the time with stupid shit like that.
Was there any other incidents like similar to this where he did something that could hurt men or would hurt men? Or is this like an isolation incident?
I would say it's isolation that I know of. It's isolation, except, well, let me say this too, is that he not only did all this, he covered it up for 8 months. He could have come clean on the spot when Relly showed up and he didn't. He could have come clean the next day. He could have came clean the next week. Like, hey, Anthony, hey, speakers, I fucked up on Sunday night. I don't know what I was thinking. I had a drink that night. My head wasn't straight, right? He had a lot of it. He had 8 months, right? More than half a year to come clean on this issue. And he brushed it under the fucking rug. So not only did he do it, he covered it up and he lied about it he intended to keep it a secret forever. Now, I don't know of any other incidents in real life where he's done that, other than with the Redman group trying to steal 21 Convention and create the Redman Summit. He's still trying to do that, create new summits and this and that. That was always the plan. And there's a big scheme that he did to do this, and the Redman group is part of it. He was going to use Rich Cooper and himself to boot me out of the company like I booted them out. I bought Rich Cooper out, and then I booted Rollo out. So, yeah, it's a whole, I don't know. Rollo is a very conniving schemer. He plans long-term. He thinks not just a few weeks at a time or even months, but years. So he planned to fuck with my company for years, as far as I know, like a conspiracy for real. And he then told all these guys that he was telling guys to go for refunds and shit, all kinds of stupid fucking contract interference. Like, so he's done a lot of dumb shit in real life, but I don't know of anything bigger than when he doxed 50 guys. Like, that to me is the worst thing anyone in this community has ever done. As far as I know, I don't know of anyone killing anyone or anything like that. So it's pretty bad.
Hopefully,
it's
not.
a crime. It's a crime against the manosphere, is what it is.
Yeah, let's take a few more questions, and we'll really jump into the convention and talk about that. What's up, Alex? You ever have a fan go out to you out of nowhere? Yeah, for sure. But it's never been bad. It's always positive. It's like, hey, man, I like your videos, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that happens. Actually, it started happening much more often. I want to say 8 months ago or something like that, 6 to 8 months ago. Like it used to happen like once in a blue moon. It was like very flattering, and now it happens more often. Like pretty much every night when I go out, like once or twice maybe. During the day, it doesn't happen often. It's mostly at night. But it's cool. Like it's always flattering. It's always good to like meet people who like my work. I've never anything negative. It's only positive. Uh, some of the guys are like super cool. Some of them are a little awkward. Whatever. Uh, okay, we kind of disproved that. Uh, so yeah, we kind of covered that. Okay, let's say this. JMO uses the same structure that Tal introduced. He taunts Talon to not look like a thief and misdirect his audience to him. He can create mystery because he's struggling to pick up these days. Yeah, I really don't think it's a business thing. I know John, and he's not like a communist or something like that, but he does a lot of suboptimal business things because he thinks it's right. So if I was like his business manager, I would, like and he knows this. He's a smart guy. He just does it because he's like, I don't give a fuck. So yeah, he's not discrediting Tyler to like make more money. I don't think it has anything to do with money at all. And if I felt like it was a money grab, I would have honestly probably not been collabing with him nearly as much. So yeah, it's just purely he just like that's what he thinks is right. Like there's a lot behind the scenes too. Like a lot of people don't know about. He gets a lot of death threats and shit. And like now he's got the whole. There's a lot behind the scenes shit. And like
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to John to kind of how much he wants to talk about that. But so yeah, it's not a business thing. I can definitely say that. Thoughts on Kevin Samuels paying for escorts? What's your thought?
I haven't heard about that. I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, yeah, maybe he has. Maybe can someone point evidence to that? I don't know. I haven't heard about that. I kind of like what Samuel says, to be honest. He's pretty savage.
I like Kevin too, actually. Yeah, I'm definitely I wouldn't say a big fan, but I like him. I have no problem with that as long as he's not claiming that he's pretty transparent about that. He says like, yeah, if you're a high value man, it's a better use of your time to just get an escort rather than like go out and game. Which I don't really agree with that argument, but he's transparent about it, so then there's no problem. Now he was saying
I married an escort, so like it is what it is. Not on purpose, but
But yeah, you didn't know.
I don't know.
I'm assuming you would not have married an escort if you knew.
No, I would not. I would not have done that.
But yeah, so again, if he was like saying, "Yo, guys, whatever you do, don't get escorts," that's problematic. If he's just transparent about it, I don't see that as a problem at all. We'll take a few more questions later, but let's jump into the convention now. So
sure.
Yeah, we kind of went on a little side thing, but let's talk about the convention. So, what is it for anyone who's not familiar with this at all? And while you explain, I'm just going to get a cup of water.
Sure. So, if you guys watching, the 21 convention is an open platform. John Anthony, for example, J-Molv, recently called it that and was describing it. I like that terminology. It's kind of like TED Talks, but it's for the Manosphere and it's for men and it's for fathers. We actually have 3 conventions now. We got one for men. That's the classic 21 convention. You've probably seen a lot of speeches. Then there's the Patriarch Convention for fathers, and there's the 22 Convention for women. And each one is obviously different, and the speakers, the content, and the audience. Like the woman cannot go to 21 Convention, you got to be a man. And you could be not a father and go to the Fatherhood Convention, but it's mostly fathers at it, obviously. It's for fathers. And then men cannot go to 22 Convention either. That's only for women. You got to be a chick to go to that. No dicks, no chicks with dicks at the 22 Convention. But it's like TED Talks for men is the main one, the 21 Convention. It's like for the Manosphere. We have guys speak who are not Manosphere too, doctors and Navy SEALs, FBI agents, like pretty cool shit, experts in their fields. But it's an open platform where men can get together and talk about serious issues and ideas for men to self-improve or cultural issues related to men, stuff like that. Divorce, family law, fitness, health, wealth, self-defense, even like that's why Navy SEALs, FBI agents speak. I have a couple of books actually from the FBI guy behind me. Kind of like snakes in suits. That's how I found the FBI guy. He's based in Tampa. Joe Navarro, for the guys maybe who know him from body language. He does a lot of body language books too. But yeah, it's just amazing convention I've done for 15 years, man. And we put out all the speeches for free. So it's like TED Talks, like free to the world. We put them first at 21 University, where we have like a subscription to get them early, ad free, all that. And then it goes out on YouTube, and they tend to get hundreds of thousands or even millions of views. And what I'm trying to do is help millions of men become better men, and not like in some generic way, like really hardcore. Like real change. And in my view, real change takes real fucking effort. Now that's going to depend on where you start at. If you're a social retard like these frauds, you have a much deeper hole to dig out from. But if you're not, and you just like want to get better with chicks, or you're just kind of fat and kind of chubby and want to like be in much better shape, but you're not like 500 pounds, then we're here to help you with that. And so it's the best convention in the world for that. I'm like really good at what I do. I'm really good at. I'm not perfect at finding speakers. Obviously, there's been some frauds, and I think when you run a convention for 15 years, you're going to have
Of course,
95%
yeah, that goes
good
without saying.
speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the content. This is what it is. But I've also had the
I've
audacity
even
and
like done live streams with some frauds, like I just didn't know at the time. So it
yeah, you
happens.
just don't
When
know.
you go
Yeah,
through high
yeah,
volume, it's bound to happen.
yeah, exactly.
One of the things that actually attracted me to the convention a lot is that you don't micromanage the speakers, which is, I think, a mistake some conventions make, which I
Yep,
don't like. So I like the idea, like you have no input in my speech. Like you never said, like, Alex, I talk about this. It's
that's right.
like my speech is going to be, whatever, I think is relevant. To give you guys a little sneak preview, because I already kind of started writing up the outline, is it's going to be probably the best 40 minutes explanation of how you can crush it with online dating. So
Exactly.
it's going to be a very straightforward, practical guide. And
Mhm.
it's pretty hard to sum something like that up in 40 minutes. But I don't think there's going to be a better version, at least that I've seen, of how you can do it. Like, look, you can go through like my videos for hours and hours and you can get
Yep.
probably more in depth stuff. But in 40 minutes, like it's going to be like the most practical, straightforward. Here are the big fundamentals all the way from start to finish.
Bingo.
So that's
So
going to
you have just perfectly summarized what the convention really does. All people are like, why would I go to the convention when the speeches are free, or even like you're saying now, why would I watch Alex's speech when I can just go to his YouTube channel and watch 10 hours of videos or 100 hours, right? It's because basically it's like a diamond. The convention, the platform, and then the filming, right? We have all these cameras, 4K, awesome stage, lighting, drapes, big TV for PowerPoints, like all this cool shit. It helps you condense as a speaker your ideas into a diamond, and then that tends to go viral, right? Coach Greg, for example, one of his highest viewed videos ever, like top 2 or 3, is his speech at 21 Convention last year. And there's nothing in the speech you can't find on his channel. It's that it's a super badass, like 65-minute or whatever it is, speech in 4K. That is a super condensed version. You could talk much faster in real life too, right? Rather than behind a webcam. When you're talking again to an audience, you tend to get much more like valuable feedback from their eyes and like what's going on. Are they paying attention? Are they getting it? Like what's going on? So anyway, it just helps in a lot of different ways. Like you're saying, you have freedom too. I don't dictate shit to you. Keep it legal. Try to keep it on YouTube. Obviously, I don't control the
Damn, dude. Are
platform.
you telling me I can't do a speech on pedophilia? Because that was like my backup option.
Yeah, yeah. Don't be calling for violence. Like don't like, hey, let's burn down the government. Like please don't do that. So that's it though. I don't say shit to you. Like I'm not here to dictate to you. And so that's what John Anthony was saying when you're in the back getting water. John Anthony called it an open platform for the Manosphere, and he nails it 100% with that. That's exactly what it is. It's a bit more expansive than that because we have speakers who are not Manosphere too. Different doctors, Navy SEALs, shit like that, which is pretty cool. But mostly it's Manosphere guys, and it's open. And unless you're a fraud, I really not here to. If there's a fraud, then that's a problem, and that means I got to deal with shit like I have on YouTube this year, right, and last year and stuff. The Rollo and Donovan, all this shit. But other than that, I'm not here to dictate to people. I'm not here to dictate whose school of thought is the best on pickup or relationships or marriage or any of this shit. I'm here to provide a really cool, really like a Switzerland kind of neutral platform for people to present and engage and debate, and then meet too in real life, man. Meet the other attendees, meet the speakers, like meet like actual dudes in real life who share the same values and interests as you, which is even harder today than it's ever been. Men used to have bowling alleys and cigar lounges a lot more commonly and shit, and like they used to meet up and do shit like barbershops and shit. That's all gone now, man. You still have some cigar lounges, but that's about it. And even that's pretty rare. That's not like a thing that young guys do anymore, right? So they need.
It's more people like our generation do that. Like the younger guys, they definitely like. To me, the idea of like people like, oh, let's do a Zoom hangout. Like I'm not gonna fucking do a Zoom hangout. We're either gonna hang out in real life or we're
Yeah,
not gonna hang out. Like there's no replacement. You can't use Zoom to replace like real interaction.
yeah.
But
I also find too, man. You haven't been to the convention yet, but
no.
we'll see what you do. But here's what a lot of speakers do. They just come to hang out and watch the speeches themselves, like attendees. They spend a couple days at the event. It's a 4-day event, so it's really long. I don't like short events like 2 days. I don't think you can get enough content there and even enough experience as an attendee. But 3-4 days is pretty savage. And you can have like these big speakers. Like Elliot Hulse, for example, is a guy with 2 million and something, 2.5 million followers, right? He runs a big business, man. He has a lot of people pulling at his attention, but he takes the time to spend 4 days straight at the 21 convention. He gives usually 2 to 3 speeches, right, at the different events, and then the guys can hang out with him. Elliot Hulse would probably charge you minimum $500 an hour for his time or more to talk to him on the phone or more, right? But you can go if you're at the convention with him, you can just go talk to him and like get coffee. Like that's some like even like John Anthony will be there. If John Anthony doesn't think you're some spy for fucking some Rollo or some of these faggots trying to hurt him, then he'll just probably talk to them. You can, I mean, where else can you do that, right? I can't volunteer his time. He has to do that himself. But that's what these guys, because it's a positive environment. And I only want the best attendees too. I don't want these weird attendees and shit and like losers. I hate stupid people. I don't want them in my life. I don't want their money. I want the smartest guys who actually care about this content and these ideas. And then they can come to the convention and help generate the content. That's where the ticket money goes. It goes a lot of it to the filming and the venue. It goes to the hotel and the staging and all this shit. And then your speech can get 500,000 views because it's like a diamond. That's like your best content that's ever been filmed. Boom.
Yeah.
And then that helps you.
That's actually where I was literally going to go next. Yeah. So I probably won't be there for 4 days, but I'm gonna be there for at least a solid 2 days. So yeah, I'm like, you guys can like come, meet me, take photos with me. I'll fucking answer your Tinder questions. Like, yeah, I charge, like now we raised the price. I charge $250 an hour for coaching. But like I'll help you guys. I'm not gonna ask anyone for any money. Like if you're an attendee, that's fine.
And I'm not demanding that, man. You don't got to do that, but that's what speakers do. They just do it
organically. I'm definitely going to do that. And I'm going to go out in the evening so you can have like, a drink with me. I mean, my girl's going to be there. My dad's going to be there. So you can meet my dad. You can like meet my girl.
Dude, Elliot Hulse had his dad as a speaker at our fatherhood event back. He's got like 120,000 views on his channel now.
Oh shit.
He wanted his dad to be a speaker. I was like, okay. Like,
yeah, my dad would never. My dad's English is pretty poor. He's like a Russian immigrant, but so that's gonna be cool. Another thing that I like about the event that I want to mention is a lot of the conferences and stuff like that. There's a back end interest to sell you on something. There's an upsell. So let's take
RSD free tour. RSD free tour, man.
As an example, let's take Soap at Summit, which is an event I spoke at. I like some of the organizers, just like the other ones. But at Soap at Summit, there was like an underlying upsell. Like the idea is like, you buy the boot camp afterwards. There's no boot camp to sell here. Yes, the tickets are pricey, but there's no that's because there's no back end kind of secret interest in trying to get more money out of you. Yeah, some of these conferences, the tickets are cheaper because they're going to make the money on the back end by selling you on like a $5,000 boot camp, right?
I just wrote a whole newsletter. I just wrote a whole newsletter like a week and a half ago on how conferences rip you off to my newsletter. And I wrote all about these specific mechanisms. This is one of the main ones. They give you a cheap ticket to upsell you on bullshit, right? $10,000 work. Even real estate conferences do this and other industries, right? Oh, the ticket's only $50, but here's a $10,000 workshop. And they're counting on a large audience with a demographic of guys who will just drop 10 grand. Or they can get $1,000 boot camp out of you or whatever. So yeah, it's always, there's a game to it. And I don't do that. There is no upsell. The upsell is, you want to come next year or not? Yes. Okay. No. Okay. Bye. Like, thank you for coming. And a lot of guys do. Some guys don't. It's whatever, man. There is no, and I don't even let speakers pitch from the stage anymore. Like if you really want to do that, you got to run it by me. And I typically say, no, I don't like it because it's not the purpose of the speeches.
No, I think that's a good thing. Yeah. I think it should be really on value. That's the problem I have is sometimes like you go to a conference and like half the speech is like the upsell. And it's just, I think that shit is so lame because even if you pay $50, you're still taking your time to volunteer to go there. So I think the speeches should be like all value. And like, I wasn't even thinking about trying to upsell myself. Like
I agree with you, but even from a business perspective, it's stupid. Like it's not only like kind of unethical, it's like dumb because if you give the most badass speech you can, the chances of it going viral are way higher. And that's what will boost your business and get you a bigger audience and more sales. You have to do the best job you can to make the best content you can that actually educates men and whatever you want to do. Motivate, educate, inspire, whatever the specific goal is. And the better you can do that, the better chance of it getting 1 million views. And then boom, your channel blows up and then you have more fans and shit. Like when people fraud and do this dumb shit, it's like it fucks not only the fans or the customer, it fucks themselves long-term, at least long-term, maybe short-term too. Yeah, it's just I hate all that crap. Now I'm not opposed. If someone wants to buy boot camp from you at the event, like on the side, I don't care. But I don't, it's not for the stage. Like, hey, motherfuckers, buy my boot camp. And if you don't do it,
I never like that kind of stuff. I never like it's funny actually. I don't know if I told you. Actually, we talked about this a while ago. I was actually thinking, and I'm still planning on organizing a conference at some point. My conference will be a little bit different than 21 convention because mine's going to be a lot more pickup and game focused versus I think yours is more about like, just being a man and everything that goes with that. But literally one of the things, like I have like a, kind of like an outline. I write a lot of notes on my phone. So everything like my speech, I have notes on that, like everything has notes. And one of the bullet points I have, limit each speaker to no more than 5 minutes of upsell because that's what I think ruins speeches. is when
Yep.
half the speech is an upsell. In RSD case, it's 80% of the speech. Like
Mm-hmm.
that shit, I think destroys conferences, destroys speeches, and makes the whole thing just feel kind of sleazy, in my
Yep.
opinion.
The,
So
the issue you might have is trying to limit people on time like that can be hard in real life, especially when a live conference is like a theater, like a performance. There's staging, there's audience, there's all kinds of shit can go wrong. The power can go out, a light bulb can blow out. Like it's all kinds of little things that happen, and trying to keep people like, I mean, you could try it, but yeah, it can be tough like that. And people might go 6 minutes, 7 minutes. They don't want to shut up.
you're right.
Like it's dude, all kinds of. I've seen in real life like I don't know 300 speeches or something at my conventions, maybe more. I don't know, and all kinds of dude. I mean, mostly it's just normal shit goes smooth, but sometimes dumb shit happens.
Mhm.
So
But yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm definitely going to go out at least one of the nights. Like I am going to have my girl, and my dad with me, so I'm not going to be able to like tag team a girl with you, but I can do a little pickup. Like that's fine. So you can like you'll also be able to get like a really good like behind the scenes look at me because again, like my girl's there, my dad is there, right? Like so, I think that's going to be interesting. I'll answer all your guys' questions. Like you don't have to like pay me any money or anything like that. I think it's gonna be cool. Like just hang out,
now,
chill.
Alex, do you have a fat old girlfriend like most dating coaches, or do you
No,
have a hot
she
young?
weighs like 95 pounds.
Oh,
She's tiny.
nice. That
She's
is
a
most dating coaches. I think fuck old fat women these days. So you just got to ask,
No, yeah, she's like super duper petite. Um, Probably like almost like too petite. Like I want her to like gain some weight actually.
Wow,
But that's a whole different aside. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be a good time. Definitely encourage you
nice.
guys to go. I think I mentioned this in the post. Just there's a discount code or promo code. If you
Yeah.
book, you just have to what did we say? Email me or something like that, right?
Yeah, they can just DM you anyway, and
Yeah,
they get
just
a 25% discount code with you.
yeah. So just
Yep.
just hit me up if you're like, it's a little too expensive. Just hit me up. There's a 25% promo code available through email.
And it's also bring a friend free. We're gonna end that pretty soon, probably like October 10th. We got to cut it off at some point, but they
Mhm.
can bring a friend free if they buy a ticket before then, and then you can
Yep.
split it in half or just
Yeah,
gift
that's
it
pretty
to a
cool.
buddy or a
Yeah,
cousin or whatever. Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a good time. Yeah,
yeah.
so definitely check it out. Let's actually cover this real quick. Who are like the big speakers besides myself? Obviously, they're going to be there.
Yeah, so at the main event, I would say the biggest ones are we kind of list them on the top headlines, the images.
Mhm.
And that'll be Dr. Sean T. Smith. He's a clinical psychologist, has a
Okay, yeah, yeah.
PhD in
I'll watch this
psychology.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. He's spoken a couple times before too. And then Jack Donovan. He's an author of The Way of Man and a whole book series, most recently Fire in the Dark. In my opinion, he's probably the best philosopher in the world right now, an author for masculinity itself. He does
Mhm.
like crazy amounts of research into history books and stuff for like thousands of years, all the different religions, all the different other philosophies for masculinity. And he's able to integrate it into like concise books for men to read about. And he gets a lot of military guys like him, guys, special forces and shit like that, law enforcement. But it's just very, very good work for understanding how to be a man separate or not necessarily involving women in it. Like a lot of these guys are interested in pickup, but there's more to life being a man than just picking up chicks.
No, 100%.
And Jack's one of those guys. Elliot Hulse will be there. He's speaking at the Fatherhood event, not 21 Convention, but they can also go to speeches at the Patriarch Convention at no charge. It's included with their ticket as a bonus. These speeches going on at the same time in the same hotel. There's actually 3 events going on at the same time: one for women, fathers, and then 21 Convention for men. So they can meet Elliot Hulse almost 100%, most likely in the hallways and dinners and shit. There's actually huge dinners that go on too at the events, so I don't get derailed from that. There's a lot of huge speakers. Jesse Lee Peterson's another big one. He's got like 300 or no, probably like 600,000 if you count all his channels. He's got over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. His mission is to rebuild the man, rebuild the family. He's a black reverend and he's super savage. He's like he's like the opposite of like the other ones, like Al Sharpton and Jesse. There's another Jesse one. It's not obviously Jesse Lee Peterson.
I know who. I know exactly.
Jesse Lee Jackson. Jesse Lee
Yeah,
Jackson.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's like the opposite of Jesse Lee Jackson. He's like very pro man. He hates racism, like all that crap. And I actually had a conference in Orlando recently too. His own men's conference. It's pretty cool. We have about 18, 19 speakers though. It's pretty big. And John Anthony will be there, of course. They'll get to meet him, see him speak. And it's just super dope, man. All the speeches come out for free eventually, but it takes a long time, like usually a year and a half, because there's so much editing to do from all the speeches. It's crazy.
Is AMS going to be there this year?
No, he almost spoke last year, but then I can't really talk about it. It wasn't really anything to do with me. It was just like this system thing. I've talked to him a little bit this year. He might speak next year. He
Cool.
has, me and him are not on bad terms or anything like that, and I got no problem with him.
Cool.
So he won't be there this year though. No,
All
but they
right.
can go to the website and they can see in the link. There'll probably be a link in your description, right? They can go check out the pages
Yeah.
and shit,
I
and they
mean,
get
it's
access.
in and of itself just to see me. I mean, that's like everything else is just icing
Yeah.
on the cake. That's like that's
Mhm.
all that matters. No, I think it's
There's
gonna
gonna
be a
be
good time. Yeah.
there's gonna be panels too, like Redman Group panels, where we do the Redman Group in person, like a TV show, and there'll be different subjects and topics and stuff, and you'll get to see a lot of speakers
What
engage
day
with
is
each
that
other.
gonna be?
Sunday, Sunday.
Okay, Sunday. Cool.
Yeah, pretty much the speeches are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's a
Oh,
huge dinner on Saturday night for everybody, food's included. If you're VIP, you get open bar. If you're regular ticket, you get cash bar. But the
cool.
food's involved. And then Sunday is a little bit of speeches and then all the Redman Group panels of the go like the whole afternoon. It's a long event too, man. It's all day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and at night too. We got dinners and kind of meet and greets and little
The
people.
big question I have is the food
Yeah,
gonna be paleo?
yeah, I tend to
Oh,
keep it very
sweet.
paleo. Yeah, I do as best I can. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Me and
Yeah,
Anthony
I hate.
discovered like in a very random text that we're both like
Yeah.
following strictly the paleo dad. It's
I
just
love
like,
paleo, man. I've done it
yeah,
since 2008. Long time,
yeah.
like
I've
13,
been doing
13
it since
years.
2013. Yeah, it was pretty funny because Anthony was coming to Miami. He was like, "Yo, man, is there any like restaurants you can recommend?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm like a super strict paleo dad, so whichever place I pick, you're probably not gonna like." He's like, "Dude, I've been paleo for like 10 years," so it was pretty
Yep.
funny.
Yep.
All right, let's. I think we covered the comments pretty well. Do you have like another 15 minutes to take a few more questions?
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. Let's take a few more. So, okay, so let's just address this. In the first podcast, Jane will love. Anthony says Lake House 200 plus months later. Okay, yeah. Can you clarify this?
I'm assuming he's referring to me and not John Anthony, right? Because
Yeah,
John
yeah,
Anthony has a way higher lake count.
yeah. He's
So
referring to.
I've never said my lake count's over 200 anywhere because it's not. So if he can point to me that video, I like to see that. But I never said that shit as far as I know. I don't know why the fuck I would even say that. I've never said that. Now maybe he means my friend Xavier, who's like 250. You know Xavier.
Yeah.
I don't have 200. I've never said that. I think I could have fucked well over 200 girls if I had no standards. I know a guy like my old friend Ratis. He's an old speaker. They can find him on YouTube. Type Ratis 21 Studios. He's kind of like John Anthony. He's fucked crazy amount of girls, and he fucked some hot girls and then a ton of fat girls too. He was kind of a sociopath that had like no
Yeah,
standards.
I know dudes just like that. Who like
Yeah, and I banged some fucking hot ass women, bro. Like I really like the hottest, tightest, fittest, biggest tits, like just super hot I can find. That's what I like to fuck. I don't like fucking average women. I don't like fucking ugly women. I don't like fucking fat women. I've never fucked a fat woman in my life. I let one fat girl blow me one time in 2017. Because Xavier and all these dudes always like, yeah, just don't worry about it. She's like a 5, like she'll just blow you. I'm like, it's for like 15, not 15 years, how many years it was at that point, 10 years or whatever. I'm like, all right, I've been avoiding this. Let me just let this fat girl, like this fucking 5 or 6, blow me, right? It was horrifying. I'll never do it again. I never have done it again.
I'll be honest. When I was like 19, 20, my standards were pretty low. They've just progressively gone up as I learn more game.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like 20, 21, there was hot girls in there, but there's also some like very, very questionable tricks. Like
I'm just very stubborn. I'd rather just do nothing. I'd rather do nothing. But yeah, I never, this is what it is, man. So if I really was like all out, I could have probably banged like 250 or something at this point, but I don't want to do that. And I don't see a point either, man. There's not. If you really want to fuck fat girls, I mean, whatever, man.
I actually agree with you. I'm like nowadays, I'm all about quality over quantity. Like I pass up on like DTF chicks all the time if they're like question like they're 6.5. Like I'm just not gonna like. I'd rather just like either sleep with my girl or just do work. Like those things are more rewarding for me than just like getting.
Because you have a higher lake count, though, you have perspective on that. When you have like a lake count of like 10 or 5 or something.
Yeah. Well, no, when it was like 10, I would have like sacrificed my grandma. Like my grandma's dying in the hospital. Gotta go bang this fatty. Like so.
Here's why I did it though, because when I lost my virginity at my senior prom, the girl was like legit 8.5, like really hot. I did not have the game to pull this off. It just kind of happened. She just happened to like me a lot. So that, I guess in old school PUA terms, you call it a fool's mate, right? But it was dope. And the pickup community helped me. I found it in high school and it helped me make that happen, right? But basically that set the entitlement level. Like I need to bang 8s and up, 8.5s and up because that's what I deserve. That's what I already fucked. And this was
I'm the opposite. My first chick was gross.
Yeah, dude, maybe that would have been me. But when you bang a hot girl right off the bat, I'm like, yo, fuck these fat girls. Why would I just fuck that hot ass girl? I'm gonna go fuck more of them. And game wise, let me be clear, this was delusional. Like I had no idea how to bang hot girls at that age. It took me a year. I didn't bang a single other girl after that hot ass girl in my senior prom for a year. And then I got my first Saint Matlay because I was going out almost every night for a year. And I mean, I go with makeouts and shit like that, but I just couldn't fucking pull it together with it. And then finally, or near my birthday in 2007, Saint Matlay, yeah, hot girl, like 23, older than me. And then it was all I got on a roll after that, man. And it's because I had those standards too, though, the whole time. Like, I'm not gonna bang ugly fat women. I want hot fucking women because that's what I fucking deserve, even though it was kind of delusional at that point. But that was a good attitude to have.
That's a good kind of delusion. That's the kind of delusion you want to have.
Exactly.
I wish I had that mindset when I was like just getting into game. No, like my entitlement definitely significantly went up the more like game I got and the more success I had. But like I feel like between like late count 0 and 50, it was like I couldn't bring myself to pass up a willing girl. It's like it almost felt like I was throwing away money. Like I'm throwing away like $1,000 every time I would pass up a girl. It doesn't matter how questionable unless she's like grossly obese. Like that would be the exception. Like when she was like average, borderline.
Like Donovan's wife, a Ninja Turtle, a fat Ninja Turtle.
Yeah, I probably would not bang her, but so well actually initially, like very, very initially, like the first girl I banged was pretty gross. But then the second one was pretty hot. She was like a hot blonde with big tits. And then just kind of like alternated for a while, and then it kind of started going in the positive direction. There's like some hotties and then some like meh, hottie, meh. And it was like on and off. All right. You guys check it. Do you know who that is? Hammerhand?
I've heard of him. I think he's a MGTOW YouTuber. I don't know him, but I think he's a MGTOW YouTuber. I've heard the name. I think he's a MGTOW YouTuber. That's all I know. I don't know anything else. Yeah.
Rollo is never wrong because he's talking about facts, not philosophy. Scientific facts established by science. Like always, he's being sarcastic. Like always, use a condom with a girl who has not. Okay. Yeah, that's really funny because I do this. I find this so intellectually disgenuine. Is when people like, okay, like. Look, if you're presenting your opinion, just be honest about it. Like pretty much everything I say on this channel is my opinion. I'm not going to pretend like my Tinder text game is some kind of scientific fact. It's something that's worked well for me, worked for other guys. It's been tested, but it's not a scientific fact. Okay. Yeah. And I'll fully admit that. So like when Rollo was like, well, you can't debate me because everything I say is a fact. It's such an intellectually disgenuine argument. Like, anyway,
it's totally delusional narcissism. That's like really unhinged, like to actually think like that. It's very unscientific too. It's anti-scientific. Science is the pursuit of truth, the relentless pursuit of truth. You always have to be willing to be wrong. Even if you're confident that you're right, there's still like that 0.0001% chance you could be wrong. And someone has a good argument you need to listen to. Rollo is completely closed-minded with that shit. He's an idiot.
Irrational. He'll never debate me. He'll never debate anyone who's substantial.
I know.
Who's like intelligent and can actually make
good argument. Was the first guy. Well, he debated Stefan Molyneux, got his ass whooped. That's on YouTube. He debated Sean Smith, got his ass whooped. That's on YouTube. That he won't do anything after Sean because Sean beat him down so bad that you can watch Rollo's face. Rollo just gets fucking angry. The beginning of the video to the end is amazing to clip around like that. Yeah, he's just an idiot, man. He's full of shit. I don't know what else I can say about this guy.
You know, it's funny. A lot of guys are like trying to make excuses for him. Like they're like, well, you just don't have the same level of clout as him. Like that's the argument. Like they're trying to rationalize why he won't debate. Like
I'm cloud chasing Rollo Tomassi when my channel is 3 times the size, and I've gone on a 20-minute interview with Piers Morgan in front of 1 million people. I've been all over headline news and the New York Post, New York Times, all over this shit. I'm cloud chasing smaller people with tiny audiences with a cult following. These people aren't stupid. This doesn't even make sense.
For you, it's even more ridiculous. But even for me, like he has 120,000 subs. I have like 75,000 subs.
This is not a big difference.
It's not a big difference. Like it doesn't have to be this perfect matchup in subs. I've had people on my channel, like including you. You're like significantly more popular than me. I've had people on like way more popular. I've had on people who have over 1 million subs. I've had
Elliot Hulse.
Bezos, Elliot Hulse, Sarah J, a mainstream porn star. Like I've had on really big people. I've also had on people who don't even have YouTube channels because I just thought they were interesting and they would provide value. So this misconception that has to be like this perfect lineup in subs before 2 people can talk. That's not true. That's not how it works. Okay. Anthony, why do you think Rollo is against PUAs, RSD mystery, etc.?
Because Rollo thinks he's a god in his head. He thinks he's like a Jesus figure. Technically, I think the term's a Messiah complex. So that's why Rollo talks a lot about what? Saving lives. He's saving lives. Like Jesus? Like who are you saving, bro? You know, what's interesting to me is he talks a lot about the red pill, obviously. He tries to steal that and claim it as his own. But that comes from the Matrix. And in part 2 of the Matrix, people forget about this, but you know, the character Neo tells this kid who's like, "You saved me, Neo, you saved me," and he's like, "No, kid, you saved yourself." That is a mature response to someone who's saying, you know, "You saved my life, man." Like, no, I didn't. Like, you saved yourself. Maybe my work helped you, but you did it. You did the heavy lifting of that shit. But as far as more specifically why is against PUAs, I don't know. I got off on a tangent, but Rollo with his Messiah complex, God complex, is against anyone who's a threat, a competing threat to his power structure in the Manosphere. That's what his fight with me blew up into the public, right? Rollo was very controlling and manipulative behind the scenes, and he took it hot with me, and I'm like, "Fuck you, bro. We're going to war with this." So it unveiled, it ripped the mask off this like power structure he had going. That's what you see still with Rule Zero. These guys are puppets. They can't disagree with him. If MLD or Ryan Stone or any of those guys has any significant disagreement with Rollo, they will get excommunicated immediately.
Yeah, that's
What happened?
crazy.
What happened to Sean Smith? He was on good terms with these guys for a while, right? He was kind of in the middle between two camps. He had a debate with Rollo. No more before the train wreck show on Emerge Cooper's channel. All of a sudden, poof, gone. Because Rollo is a fucking control freak. He can't. So any kind of PUA, like even frauds like RSD, Rollo doesn't care that they're frauds. He cares that they have control over guys. They're a competing cult or not, fraud or not, genuine or not. It doesn't matter. If they represent a competing power structure to Rollo's control in the Manosphere, his little Rollosphere, little cult of fucking retardville, retardville, the Manosphere. Anything that's a threat to that, he wants to take it down. He has to trivialize it. He has to criticize it, undermine it, logical fallacies, whatever it takes. Anything he can do to dismiss it and go against it. I mean, accusing you of being a secret agent for me is a perfect example. Is a perfect example of that.
Yeah,
He can't. He's scared to debate you. You're a threat to him just because you want to have an honest debate. That's why he doesn't want to debate you, because you want to have a real debate about ideas. He doesn't want to do that because he's going to lose, because he's a fraud. And you're like, hey, man, let's talk about the facts and we have these issues. He's never going to do that with you ever. And I've told you that, man. He'll never do it. And so anyway, anybody of those is a threat. So there's aggressive threats like me and John Anthony who make fun of him, make memes about him, make videos. That's just one level. But anybody, even RSC doing their own thing, they don't care about the red pill at all. They're a threat because they're on YouTube, they're in the Manosphere, and they make content that threatens Rollo's stranglehold over these guys, like a little cult of codependency, a cult of personality. That's why he hates PUAs. It's actually that deep and that fucked up.
Yeah.
End rant.
His ideas are worthless because they don't help you get women law. True. Look at his fans. No woman, only complaining about them. True. Agreed and agreed. What is Anthony Johnson's Twitter? What's your Twitter?
It's at Beach Muscles. Beach, like going to the beach, Beach Muscles.
Please have Johnson on, Alex. Yeah, I'll definitely look into him for sure. I'm always open to like good guest ideas. Usually when you guys make a recommendation, I try to get that person on. So I'll definitely look at him. Okay, this guy just keeps making nonstop excuses for Rollo. This always blows my mind. Alex Rollo admitted that his wife was a party girl and older. It's disgusting accusing him like he's a liar. No, I'm not saying he's a liar. Well, actually, he's a liar about other things. I'm saying he's a hypocrite because he talks about how women, past the age of 30, their market value goes down. They're not like, as a man, you should be going for like the younger girls. Like as a man, you hit your peak in your mid 30s. As a woman, they hit peak in their early 20s. But then he chooses himself a woman who's older. Now, me personally, I actually don't have a problem with older women. I probably would not marry a girl 5 years older than me, but I can definitely see myself.
Hang on, though. I need to clarify on this because this guy is definitely obviously a Rollo dick sucker, and he's wrong. Now, what you're saying is correct in that framework, but what he's saying is wrong in my understanding of facts from real life. To my knowledge, Rollo, now someone can go check his blog and try to verify this in his books. I don't think he ever unveiled that his wife was older than him. He always kind of evaded this question. He didn't write in the Rational Mail, like his blog in 2014, I married an older woman past the 30 wall, but here's why you shouldn't do that. I met her and I was this age and she was this age and she was older than me. I'm not aware of, I've read his whole fucking blog. I'm not aware of a single blog post like that. This came about because he got doxxed by those black pill guys. Now I knew this too, because I met his wife and I talked to his wife. He got jealous and tried to AMOG me because his wife was laughing and giggling and shit, talking to me. Because we're just drinking Jameson, like having fun by the pool and shit. It was a night, all the speakers just hanging out. Rollo got butthurt and tried to. He came up and like rubbed my chest. He's like, "Oh, bro, I'm gonna hit on his wife." I'm like, you're fucking crazy, bro. Like you're a speaker at my convention. What do you think I'm gonna go bang your wife? Like, are you insane?
Yeah, that's like such level of insecurity. Like
exactly.
Like if you're like talking to my girl, I'm not gonna come in like, "Yo, how's it going here?" Like,
yeah,
shit, like
that's how an insecure beta acts, especially at a public conference. Like, oh yeah, the convention organizer is your buddy promoting you. Also, he's gonna fuck your wife. and blow up your whole relationship. Like, get the fuck out. Your 50-year-old wife. Like, get the fuck out of here. I'm almost like 29 at this point. Like, this is the level of delusion this guy lives in, man. This delusional bubble.
Now,
But
one thing I
now,
want to. Oh, go ahead.
I'll finish here. To my knowledge, he does not like people knowing this fact. And the black pill guys who doxed him and shit, they are the ones who unveil this. I didn't have anything to do with that as far as my knowledge of it. And he doesn't disclose this on a regular basis, not even like once a month or once a week or even every show, obviously. He talks about the wall all the time, the 30 wall, the 40 wall, hypergamy, a date, sexual marketplace, all these maps and graphs he draws, right? Is he like, hey guys, I know, everyone knows I married an older woman past the 30 wall, but here's why we're going to get into why you shouldn't do that. He doesn't disclose this. I guarantee you 95% of his fan base has no fucking idea that he married an older woman past the 30 wall.
Yep.
They don't know. This guy's like, nobody fucking knows that. 2% of his fans know that. And people who hate him know that. His fans are just oblivious fucking idiots a lot of the time. Not all of them. Some of them, there's a variation of a spectrum. But yeah, it's a lot of fuckery going on. And the idea that he's some honest fucking Abe is absolute bullshit. Total nonsense.
Yeah. Just to be clear on something, I'm not actually criticizing his wife. That's personal. I wouldn't do that. I'm criticizing the hypocrisy. Again,
yes.
It's important to make the distinction.
Dude, his wife is actually pretty feminine. Like, I got no problem with her. Some guys say she looks like Skeletor and shit. I don't think so. Whatever. She's not fat. I'll tell you that much. She's not. Rollo didn't marry a fat woman. I'll tell you that right now. These other guys they fuck old fat women and they marry old fat women. Rollo's wife, at least, like, in my view, looks decent. She's not fat, right? And no problems there. And she's feminine. She's cheerful. She's not some mean cunt or anything like that. But these other dude, like Donovan's wife, is absolute. She's a dom in that relationship, for example. At Ninja Turtle, she dominates Donovan and runs his ass. Like, it's sick. I don't know about Rollo's relationship. I didn't really get a good read on it. But yeah, the wife is not, at least she's not, and she's not involved either. Like, some of these other guys, their fat Ninja Turtle wives run the scam operation. Rollo's wife doesn't do that. She works in like a dentist office or something like that. So she has no
like
involvement.
When she's like, when she's cleaning out teeth, like, so what does your husband do? She's like, next question. Like, she's like,
this is why I told the black pill guys and even John Anthony, I'm like, dude, leave his wife out of it. She's not involved. Like,
oh no, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm big.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't like involving anyone but that person. Nor would I ever dox that.
Unless they involve them. If they do it, Donovan has his chick on the show. She's a moderator. He shows her off her fatness on his stuff, like all this gross shit. She does the Photoshop on the shit. Now Ryan Stone too. He advertises his fat, 5 wife on his website. It's public, so it's like, bro, you're advertising it. It's fair game. But Rollo doesn't do that, and guys should. As much as I think Rollo's a piece of shit, guys should respect that. His family is not involved.
No, I 100% agree with that. Family is always off limits.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm doing is pointing out the hypocrisy. It'll be like, look, like my girl weighs like 100 pounds, right? Imagine I kept saying to you guys, whatever you do, don't date a super skinny girl, right? You want a girl who has some meat on the bones. And then you find out she weighs 100 pounds. Or, okay, better example is we're in like a somewhat of an open relationship, right? There's it's a little more complex than that, but that's the best way to explain it. Imagine I talked about on this channel, guys, listen, never get into an open relationship. You want to be monogamous, monogamy. And then you find out I'm in one. It's not the relationship that's a problem. It's the hypocrisy behind it. So it's important to point this out. I really have no idea why this guy, Mr. Kumar, is just fanboying so hard for this guy. It's just like
he's broken.
He's like left and right.
He's broken, man. He doesn't want to hear it. No matter how much you explain to him, we'll never get it. Other guys will, thankfully, but this dude is a loser. Yeah.
I wouldn't go as far as that.
I will. He's a total loser. Fuck this guy.
If you're not going to simp for a girl, why would you simp for another guy? That's like the
bingo. They're simping for men. They're simps. These fucking simps, dude. It's not who you simp for. It's that you're simping. That's the problem. You fucking simp. Rollo simp.
What about JMO paying hookers for students to see him as they meet? Okay, that never actually happened. So that was pretty thoroughly debunked. So basically, CoffeeZilla, I believe it was, asked that guy who was claiming that to send him a screen recording because he can't really like fake that, and the guy wouldn't do it. He was like coming up with really dumb excuses like, oh, it's a company phone, blah blah blah. So second of all, that would be very expensive to be paying for hookers, especially high quality hookers, because most of them don't want to bang ghetto trash for your students. That really, no. So that's been like pretty thoroughly debunked. If that was the case, like if that legitimately was the case, I would not collaborate with him ever. Like if I find that out. So you can be sure that like with at least with that kind of stuff, I did like a fair share of due diligence. Okay, let's take like a few more.
Someone asked me, I think the same loser, Suraj Kumar, asked me about RSD. We've had a lot of RSD instructors speak at 21, actually. Not that I'm particularly proud of it at this point, but I don't got any problems with those guys. Oh, this is a question too.
Is Anthony still in touch with DJ Fuji, AFC Adam, Jared? I've never heard of any of these people.
Oh, I
You
know
still
all
in
these
touch with these
guys.
guys?
Yeah, Nick Savoy used to be he was the CEO of Mystery Method and Love Systems for a long time. He retired in like 2017 or something like that, years ago at this point. But he's the guy who had a big legal fight. It was the first real Manosphere major court battle over millions of dollars over the ownership of Mystery Method as a copyright. Like it was a registered trademark, I think, and it was a big deal. And then the website, and the website got all fucked. I don't even know what the fuck happened, but anyway, I haven't talked to those guys in a while. AFC Adam, I still see him sometimes on social media. I haven't talked to DJ Fuji in a while. These guys spoke multiple times. Jared Lawrence. I see Jared Lawrence on Facebook a lot lately. He's back, I think, teaching, I think, or something, but I don't know. I mean, there's so many speakers. I used to know these guys, but it's been many years. I'll probably talk to them again someday at some point. I got no beef with any of those dudes.
Cool. MLG Pro, have you actually listened to that audio? Because I actually have listened to the whole thing. So what happens is, I believe what the part you're referring to is where he talks about how his girl goes on these like sugar daddy sites or whatever like that to meet girls for threesomes, right? Because you can use like those sites to like meet people like without paying for them. So there is never a section. And dude, if you can prove me wrong, I will. If you can prove this wrong, I will literally stop collaborating with JMO. Like, if you can prove me wrong on this, I'll still be friends with him. But like, I will not collaborate with someone who actually gets caught doing that. So if you can prove me wrong, I challenge you to do that. But I've listened to that whole audio. That never happens. Okay, let's take like a few more. What do you think they do at Sugar Hold Hands? Okay. Have you ever actually used a sugar daddy site? Because I have. I spent 2 years on Seeking Arrangement using it to pick up girls. I banged probably close to 50 girls. Never once did I spend a single dollar on the girl. The closest is I paid for an Uber or something like that, which is normal. Like you should be like willing to spend like $15 on a girl's Uber. That's like you're just being a cheap ass if you're not. So I don't think you're speaking from experience. I'm actually speaking from experience that you can use the websites. And if anything, Myron got caught doing that as well. So like you can't hold John by that standard, but not Myron. But I actually never took a problem with Myron being on Seeking Arrangement. I never criticized him for that because I know, because I've talked to him, first of all, I've talked to him about offline. I actually gave him a lot of Seeking Arrangement strategy before Freshman Fit wasn't even a thing. I used to be like pretty friendly with Myron. But I know that you can use those sites. And the fact that someone's on that site doesn't mean shit in of itself, especially if they're in the community, because a lot of the coaches, a lot of them use those sites to meet chicks because it's a really easy way to meet girls. So that, yeah. No. He's gonna shit all over the place. Did Rollo ever? So did he ever respond to this?
He did once. He did a long stream and basically said nothing. You can go find it. It's like Rule 0 from probably June 2019. I have it downloaded somewhere, like a copy of it. And no, he never. It's very interesting because he watched the whole thing. I've watched the whole thing. Rollo never denies the allegations or confirms them. Like for real, like it's amazing. 2 hours he dances around the issue. It's a simple question: did you dox this shit to this reporter or not? Did you send this text message or not? Do you have the phone records you can show on your phone statement from your cell phone company that you sent these text messages or not? He could have easily disproved this with his phone records from that month. And he never did because he's a fucking bullshitter. He's a liar. He did it. And then even Rich Cooper was like, on the video, if you go watch it, I'll send it to you, Alex. I'll find it. Hey, Rich Cooper was on there with him. And I think MLD and the standard crew of idiots that, fucking retards. But Rich Cooper is like, well, so what if Rollo did it? And Rollo says nothing. It's like, so what if Rollo did it? That proves the whole goddamn everything I just fucking said. This guy's sold out men.
I think I've heard that one, or I've heard about, yeah.
It's super retarded. Like, and all Rollo had to do is say, I didn't do it, or I did do it, and I fucked up, and Anthony got me. He caught me red-handed, or I didn't do it.
True.
And here's
the phone that like I didn't do. I wouldn't like dance around and be like, no, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? I would be like,
here's the thing. All he had to do print out his fucking phone record from October 2018. At that point, it was only June 2019, less than a year. He could have easily printed it out, blacked out all these numbers or whatever with a Sharpie and shown that he didn't fucking do this. But he didn't do that. And guess what? Those phone records are permanent, and we're going to get them.
All right, look at this. This guy, then this, then this. This guy, I thought it was a troll question, so I didn't answer it. What I think about wearing a muscle suit for day game, I mean, that's gonna be like super fucking obvious. Like,
that's some simple pickup shit. Remember the simple pickup guys?
Yeah, I do, and yeah, I absolutely do not recommend that. Don't do weird shit. That's like the big thing that I always teach. Like, don't if something seems like weird, don't do it. It's not gonna get you extra points for being witty. You're just gonna come off as a weirdo. You want to be a cool, normal guy when you try, especially with day game, where it's already kind of inherently socially socially weird. Like, it's not social norm to go up to strangers during the daytime and start conversations with them. So you're already kind of going against the client, right? But you don't want to add to that unnecessarily by doing other weird shit. The best thing you do for gay game, again, is be a cool, normal guy. That's the vibe you want. A cool guy that she feels is not going to kill her. It's not going to blow up her phone. That's the vibe you want to give off. And doing like weird shit like muscle suits and stuff like that, it's not going to help you.
That's pretty weird. Yeah. I push the boundaries with peacocking like these, but they're just hats and t-shirts. Like,
I think that's a whole different story though. Like, I think that's I think that's more polarizing. I think that's different than
hang on, let me tell you a story. So I went to a Turning Point USA. It's this big college conservative thing. And I wore this hat a lot. Make women virgins again. And bro, this hat triggers the fucking shit out of women. Like, toxic masculinity and make women great will get women interested, but make women virgins will fucking piss women, especially Christian women. Because I went up to this whole Christian booth of these Christian girls for college female women Christian conservatives, right? And I was like, "Oh, are you guys like a Christian organization?" And it was obvious they were. It said like, on the banner behind them. And like, "Oh yeah, we're Christians." I'm like, "Oh cool. So is having premarital sex a sin in Christianity or not?" And they're like, "Well, we're not answering that." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And they saw the hat and they were just getting like super butthurt about it. So this hat is like not a muscle suit, but this will piss some women off, man. Like, you wouldn't believe. Like, all the trauma they have of their relationships and their dad comes out in one hat. Make women virgins again. I love it.
Yeah, I still think that's totally different than wearing a muscle suit. Like, that's more like socially accepted peacocking versus a muscle suit is like really weird type of peacocking.
That is really bizarre. But
yeah, I think the hat is still falls under like socially like normal stuff. Like, it's just like polarizing as fuck, which I'm not even saying like it's something I would do. Like,
they almost kicked me out of the event for that one. The founder of it, Charlie Kirk, saw me with the hat and he started looking me up on Twitter and shit. He almost booted me out of the event. There was like 1,000 people at this thing, and yeah, it was pretty wild. But they didn't do it because I had buddies there that kind of talked them out of it. But
okay, so this question has been answered numerous times. He worked with him because he wasn't sure that he was a scammer at that point, right? Yeah. The same reason I worked with my old business partner, David. David wasn't a scammer, but he was, he had a whole bunch of other problems that I've talked about in other videos. So it's the same reason I've had people, I'm not going to name their names because they did me the courtesy of coming on my show. So I'll never like shit talk them. But I've had people on my channel who are, low-key scammers. Not JMO. And I just didn't know better. It's like, there's nothing crazy about that. Like, about working with someone and later realizing they're full of shit and not working with them. Like, no one is perfect.
It can be hard, man. Like, if someone's determined to be a con artist, they have the upper hand. Because you don't go around like you assume, and correctly so, that most people are not con artists. Most people are not psychopaths. Most people are not sociopaths. That is the default in life. That most people are like there's a range, but like they're not crazy and they're not out to fucking scam you out of money instantly. But some guys are really determined snakes. That's why it's called snakes in suits, man. A good example too, by the way, is like Bernie Madoff back in the 2008 or whenever that was. That whole shit show went down. He got arrested and went to jail. He scammed his family out of billions of dollars and other people and shit. I mean, that guy was scamming his own family out of money, his sons and cousins or whatever, and relatives and shit. That was a big thing back in the 2000s. But that's an example of like a committed con artist in your own family who would steal millions of dollars from you. Never mind lie to you on the internet. You don't even know you. These guys, they got to realize they feel that they know a YouTuber like you or me or Rollo or whatever. but the reality is they don't, and they certainly don't know you for shit. They don't give a fuck about you. I mean, they might want to help you and and focus on these issues, but like, I hate on YouTube when guys like pretend to be like close friends with their audience. Like, yeah, fam, we're in it together. We
Yeah, I
got here
know.
together.
I
It's
know.
like, are we in it together when that check comes in from YouTube, or is that only for you? Oh,
Yeah,
it's only for
yeah,
you,
yeah,
huh? We're not in
yeah.
together on the money, huh? So, Rollo pretends to be this red pill Santa Claus. My blog is free. Oh no shit, you have a free blog. Everybody has a free blog. Who charges for a blog? Like, this is the
A lot
kind
of
of
these guys actually have disdain for their audience. They
oh
like
yeah,
I
yeah,
kind of sense that with Fresh and Fit a little bit. Like they
yeah,
talk about how much they love their audience,
yep.
but I almost sense the opposite. But that's a whole different aside.
You're right. I think you're 100% right, and you're getting it. That's projection. They're just telling their audience what those guys want to hear. Oh, we're in it together. Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna get to 1 million subs. No, you're not. They are, and they're gonna use you to do it. They're
Right.
gonna throw you under the bus too. I think Myron's a Fed man. That motherfucker's a fucking snitch. Fuck that loser.
Well, he worked for the Department of Homeland Security. I mean, that's been like proven. I actually known about that for over a year. I've known about it. So if
Yeah,
you guys are talking about cloud, dude,
yeah, but
imagine
what
if
he's
when the whole thing was going down before it was revealed, if I made a
yeah.
video talking about him being a Fed, how many views I would have got?
You should have
Another
done it, man. Yeah,
I really just don't go after people personally unless there's major hypocrisy. He's
yeah.
not like, he's not pretending to be a gangster, so I don't see hypocrisy there.
Here's the issue. What he worked there from 2013 in that affidavit I saw where he swore that in a court from 2013 to what 2019, 2020, and then he just
Yeah,
quit or got fired.
one
No,
of those, yeah.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it, man. That's some sketchy ass shit down there. You don't just retire. He 34 years old. He was a special agent for Homeland Security and he's retired at 34. And then he all of a sudden blew up instantly on YouTube. Get the
No,
fuck out
so
of here.
it wasn't exactly like that. So the channel was, and I actually have really no reason to doubt this. The channel was, so he was doing YouTube while he was working for them, and the channel started to take off when it was at around like 100,000 subs, and then that's when his superiors called on. They basically sat him down. Now, what's kind of on? He says that he quit. Maybe he was fired. I really, that part I can see him lying about.
I think he's still working for them. I think it's all a lie. I think he's a
No,
fucking fed.
I don't think they would ever let someone that popular with saying the shit he does. That would be such a bad look for them. I think
It's on purpose, man. I'm telling you. I think it's a big. I have a reason. That document I sent you, that 100-page fucking document, that is what I'm talking about. That's from Homeland Security too, man. I'm gonna do the whole thing. My speech is gonna cover this, man. At 21, I think the feds are fucking infiltrating the Manosphere straight up. And Myron, Amru Fraudel is one of them. Straight up.
So I respectfully disagree with you on that one, but it's okay. People can have differing opinions.
Sure.
Like, yeah,
It's a big
but
claim. I'm not. This isn't small potatoes. I'm claiming the guy's an actively federal agent for the government.
No,
Like, that's a big
I would
deal.
really, again, I just because it would be such a bad look for the government that someone who's talking about very controversial things like red pill stuff and shit would be working for them. Like his superior does not want that shit. They want to stay well away from that. So that's why I can totally believe that he got fired rather than him quitting. I just think he might be saying that to save face, but I think there's no way they would let him stay on that long.
I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna look into it officially. So we'll see.
Let's take like two more questions. It's not about JMO because I feel like we've covered that quite extensively. It's kind of funny because a lot of guys just direct their JMO questions to me. So sometimes I almost feel like I'm like his spokesman or something like that. I hate doing that shit though because I want to speak for myself. I don't want to speak for other people. I feel like
You're a secret agent for me.
I feel like being a secret agent for one person keeps me busy, guys. It can't be a secret agent for two people. But I feel like quite often I'm put in that position, which is like annoying as fuck. So I'm definitely gonna message John. He should do like more of these live Q&As where he has a different style. So John's style is he'll insta ban the fucking people talking shit. I never ban anybody unless they're spamming. That's the only exception. If you're not spamming, I won't ban you. I'll just directly address what you're saying in like a calm way. So we have different styles, but I think he would definitely benefit from doing like more of these like live Q&As and just like addressing the shit. Because I'm tired of doing it. It's like the same thing every stream. I'm just like his fucking spokesperson. Like,
his PR manager.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I know. Like, what the fuck?
And on the last thing though, the guy said I was simping for Rollo. Look, it's my job to promote speakers when they speak in my convention. If I'm on good terms with them and they're speaking, I'm supposed to promote you as a speaker. This is what I do.
Right.
It's officially my fucking career. So that's just bullshit. And when I found out he was a fraud, I worked, to deal with that, just like I did with Donovan, like when push came to shove. So it's complicated being an entrepreneur, man.
I asked, why are girls? Yeah, no, I agree with that. Why are girls in Miami more flaky than other cities, and how can they overcome that obstacle? So it's not just Miami; it's like the major cities like Miami, Los Angeles, um,
Hmm.
especially like. So there's several reasons. One is the Latin culture. I'll just say this, in Latin culture, like when you go to, I know this. When you go to like Colombia and shit, like girls will be like quite. Someone's taking an objection to that, but girls will be like more flaky. It's just like the culture there. Like you come like an hour late, um, and just more flaky, right? So that's the first thing. I think is that culture. Second of all, is just in general the kind of people the city attracts. So like let's take LA. Who generally speaking comes to LA? People who want to be actresses, Instagram models, cloud stuff like that. Those people are generally going to be more flaky than like a dentist or a nurse or someone like that or an accountant. So those are the reasons I think also in cities like Miami, LA, you have a lot of guys who are chasing like the same girls. So they have a lot of options. So those three factors combined make them flaky. Honestly, there's only two things you can do to, you can't ever completely overcome it, but you can mitigate it with two things. One, running really high volume and having backups. Two, running the best possible game to optimize you. You can never like, I wish I had some kind of text game that could help you guys eliminate flaking. Doesn't exist. You can minimize it to some extent, but you can't eliminate it with the perfect text. I get flaked on all the time still. Like with the perfect text game, you still can. I'm not even saying mine's perfect, but with the perfect text game, you still get flaked on. So it's just part of it is you can minimize it and sometimes significantly minimize it, but you can't ever eliminate it. Let's take one last question. Okay, let's do. Okay, wait. This guy's like keeps talking about like the the muscle suit. Alex, why do you agree with the deepfake and not the muscle suit? Because I mean, like, dude, the muscle suit is weird, bro. Like, I don't know how many times I can say it in the same way. It's just like weird as fuck, man. Like, ask five girls how they feel about you wearing a muscle suit. They'll all say, dude, it is weird. The deepfake only works because the girl doesn't know it's a deepfake. If the girl knows it's a deepfake, then by default it wouldn't work. That's why it's a deepfake, not just like, it's why it uses AI. It's not just a random face swap. So yeah, so those two are different. Because if the girl knew it was a deepfake, like she knows you're wearing a muscle suit, she would not just go along with that. She'd be like, "Fuck you! Like I'm not gonna meet up with you." Okay, let's address this. Let's make this the last question. Can you address Bulldog mindset, defending fresh and fit, and sending him hundreds live chat? Are you familiar with this?
I was just gonna say I'm not. I don't know. I like to see what the chat said too, but I don't know. I wouldn't surprise me too much. It is disappointing if that happened, but I don't know. And I've not heard of that. I don't know what he said either, and I don't want to comment on it without knowing what he said. But that's not good. I mean, if that happened for sure, that's kind of dumb at minimum.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. I respect John. Me and him had different. Oh, he's gonna be a speaker, right?
Yeah, he'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
so,
think
so
he's a fraud. He just does like he's like a fence sitter. He even says on it, he's like
yes,
on his videos, he's like, I'm on the fence about this. I'm like, dude, you live on the fence. Like, get off of it. These
I know,
people.
I
So yeah,
know.
he's not a fraud. He's like the guy in the middle, like I was talking about, that middle 60%
Yeah,
of
yeah,
dudes. He's not anti-fraud, he's not a fraud. He's like in this middle, and he does I'm like, dude, these people are predators. Like, wake up. They're pieces of shit.
yeah.
It's simple. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I've said the same thing. Like
Yeah.
yeah, he has a different philosophy. He believes that you should just focus on yourself and just ignore what everyone else is doing. That's what he truly believes. I fundamentally disagree with that to a
Yeah.
large extent. So it's just he just has a different philosophy than me and Anthony do. Like really.
Yep.
All right, we addressed a lot of good shit. So guys, check out the 21 convention. If you can make it, we'd love to see you there. If not, no worries. Just subscribe to our channels. Helps helps show your support that way. Um, yeah, thank you for coming on, Anthony. Any closing
Yeah.
thoughts?
That's it, man. I had a good time. Appreciate the chat with your fans and talking with you. One guy did see asked my channel earlier, and along with the Twitter. Obviously, it was Beach Muscles for Twitter. On YouTube, they just go type 21 Studios, 21 Studios, pull right up, and you can subscribe. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, guys, subscribe to the channel, check out the convention, and where anyone's going, I'm gonna see you guys there. It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, link in the description, right? The affiliate link.
Yeah, we'll put it up there. It's not there right now, but I'll put it up. Whoever's watching this on repeat, they'll see it.
Cool. Very cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
For sure, man. I'll see you soon.
Mhm.
Take care, man.